Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seat. The show is about to begin.
Presented by Front Yard Fantasy. I'm your host, Simon. Joined as always by my wildly handsome co-host, John Luke Garofalo. Our friend Coop with us, aka Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. I'm your host, Simon, joined as always by my not clumsy, wildly coordinated co-hosts, John Luke Garofalo and Coop A. Fiasco. What's up, boys?
I seem to have forgotten a piece of this microphone stand.
Is it an important piece?
I think so.
Jail's going to be holding the microphone in front of his face the entire time.
That's not the first or last time that's going to happen today.
Kind of a power move, though, dude. Just go full, Price is Right with it.
Hello, I am in here today.
I like the idea of it being like a surprise button of sorts. At random points throughout the show today, a microphone could come crashing to the ground at any moment.
Just blast out everyone's ears.
Keep the people guessing. I like that.
On this Monday morning. And we got some people in the chat ready for this Monday morning. Matt in the chat, Better Boss, saying happy Monday, everyone. What's
Happy
up, Matt?
Monday.
Welcome in. And we got Tommy here as well with his daily rhyme saying, oh, what a weekend. We are now down to 4. The championships are set, and I want some more. Bengals versus Chiefs, the Eagles versus Niners, both are filled with so many one-liners. Will Brock stay purdy? Will Jalen soar far? Will Joe stay cool? Will Patrick be a star? 6 more days till we get to see good morning FYF. Let's talk some BYOB.
What?
Let's go.
What an intro to BYOB. Did you boys bring some breakfast with y'all?
I'm in Texas, so water.
Ooh, Texas
That's
water.
what we drink here in Texas.
They don't have juice?
We do. We'll get JL his juice cup in the
Okay.
next break. Make sure he gets some juice before the end of this show today. We don't starve him here in Texas. We just wait an hour.
That's how it works.
And when you get hungry, you just wait an hour. That's how it works here in Texas. You want some orange juice? You just wait an hour.
That's an old timey saying. Just wait an hour.
You know, as they say here in Texas, just wait an hour.
That's fair.
You got that dillo in the road? Just wait an hour.
Just wait an hour. Cats
JL, how many times have you heard that since you've been here? That dillo in the road?
Picadillo, so many times.
Cats having sex in the front yard? Just wait an hour.
Just wait an hour. They'll be gone.
Coop, how was your weekend before we get into our BYOB?
It was good, man. Took it easy. Got signed up for some solar panels. Yeah, it's just a lot of adult stuff, you know. So now I'm eating a disgusting Greek yogurt, less sugar, Madagascar, vanilla, and cinnamon. Would not recommend to anybody out there. So, you know, pretty efficient weekend, I would say.
Pretty efficient weekend. How was your weekend? It was efficient.
Very efficient.
It was very efficient.
We were able to navigate the weekend successfully, and now we're on to Monday.
It's like a classic dad answer right there.
Classic Belichick weekend. Yeah, we're on to Monday. The weekend's over.
On to Monday. And that means we're on to BYOB. I hope you guys brought something to eat, brought a little snack, because we brought everything else. We brought the stories, we brought the topics. You just need to bring something to eat. Coop, did you bring a little proverbial breakfast for me this morning?
I did. There's quite a bit of breakfast. Should we talk about breakfast that involves the football games yesterday, or should we hang off on the football game talk and talk a little bit of other games first, or other around the league news first? What do you boys think on that?
Let's circle the games. Let's hit some around the league news. Breakfast.
So we'll be on the outside of the games looking in.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So how about a team that has been eliminated? Well, actually, no, that would be this weekend's games.
So the answer to do you have any proverbial breakfast for me was no.
Was no, because I've yeah, no. So I don't. I really only have things about the games. But what about you,
That's okay.
JL? Do
Good
you have any?
games.
Do you have any breakfast that doesn't involve the games this weekend?
It doesn't involve the games. Well, not necessarily. They're tangential to it, but some big news coming out of this game. Tony Pollard fractured his left fibula and it's going to require surgery, which is kind of a big bummer. It's going to take him about 3 months to recover. This is unfortunate. He was having a good game. He looked good in this game before he got hurt.
Yeah,
Man,
he did. He
and
looked
what sucks for him-
explosive.
What really sucks for him is this is a contract year, right? The dude's a free agent after this, if I'm not mistaken, right? So last game in the playoffs before he hits free agency, and this happens.
Brutal.
That sucks. That really sucks for him. Do you think this changes the chances of him signing with another team or leaving or returning to Dallas?
No,
I hate that we have to talk about that, but this is like horrible timing for him. It couldn't be worse.
I think it's unless it's so when they talk about like the broken leg, if it's just a normal break, then it should have no effect. Those usually heal. Bones usually heal pretty easily, and there's a very small chance of recurring injury. And he should have enough time to get back into shape. If it's sometimes with these injuries, they're related to high ankle sprains though, where like you get your leg twisted up and that's how you break it, then that would be a problem. So let's wait and listen to what the news is. But if it's just like your, typical broken leg, then he should be fine in free agency, to be honest.
That's good to hear. Albert in here saying good morning, everyone. What's up, Albert? Good
morning, Albert.
Morning, Albert.
Welcome in.
Yeah,
And
that's a brutal one. And there were a bunch of plays yesterday in that game where, to be honest, and I'm a Zeke fan, but you watch the play and you were like, man, if that was Tony Pollard on that play, that would have been a big chunk or even a touchdown. Like there was one where the hole was open. There was one man to beat and it wasn't even a great angle. And Zeke just got gobbled up. And if it was Tony Pollard, it could have been a monster play. It was like a 3rd and short where perfectly blocked and Zeke just had one guy to beat, couldn't beat him, so that's how it goes sometimes with these playoff games. That's how tight it is. One guy goes down, changes the whole landscape.
Yeah, at the end of the game there, when Dallas needed to score, you just kept thinking, if only they had Tony Pollard. Like, if only they had Tony Pollard in there. If only they had Tony Pollard in there. Which is wild with what they're paying Zeke, right? Which is a wild thing to think whenever Ezekiel Elliott is out there on the field and you're thinking, if only it was someone else.
Yeah, my favorite narrative of if only they had someone else from this weekend was Terrell Owens. Did you see what he said?
No.
Terrell Owens said he has been in touch with the Cowboys, like always, because he's a former Cowboy. And he also said that he reached out to the Bills and Terrell Owens quote from Twitter, "I could have helped them. I reached out, but Bills responded with they didn't want any distractions." That's crazy to me. So the Terrell Owens, who was a mega distraction back when he was elite, at 49 years old, doesn't believe that him returning to the league would be a distraction.
So that's crazy.
He's like, that's crazy to me. Yeah, I could have helped them, is what he said. So I don't know, T.O. Maybe. I have no doubt that he's probably in great shape, but for 50-year-old.
The Bills did lose, so at least part of that equation is correct.
Checkmate.
You never
Checkmate, Bill theists.
Yeah,
Can you imagine having the audacity to just call up an NFL team and then when they say no, you're like, I literally can't believe it. I literally can't believe that an NFL team.
Have someone else get on this phone and explain it to me because I can't believe it.
Yeah, I mean, when you're T.O., that's probably how you think. He is second or third all time in pretty much every major receiving stat. Jerry Rice is first, and then it's him and Randy Moss with all the other ones. But those guys are pretty much up there in all of them.
He's also 49 years old, like you said.
Yeah, that's part of it.
There's a downside.
That is part of it. Something yesterday from Scott Doctorman that I didn't realize that makes this next round of the games, the conference championships, a little bit more exciting. Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy have actually played before. Did you guys know that?
No.
High school?
They're college ball. So Jalen Hurts and Brock Purdy, it was a 42-41 game back in 2019. Oklahoma held off an Iowa State fourth quarter rally and won when Iowa State tried for a 2-point conversion and failed. Hurts threw for 3 touchdowns and rushed for 2 more, and Purdy threw for 5 touchdowns and rushed for another in that game the last time they played. So between the two of them, the last time they played, they accounted for 11 touchdowns in a 42-41 game that ended with a failed 2-point conversion to win it.
I'm so excited for this game all of a sudden.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy about college ball when you look at the stats, because like there's tons of those guys that didn't even get drafted. I mean, Brock Purdy was as close to not getting drafted as you can be, but even those guys are scoring like 5 touchdowns and throwing for like 400 yards at times. It's the Wild West, man.
Especially some of that Big 12 ball, like Oklahoma, Iowa State, that's just begging for it. Of course, that was 42-41.
Yeah, those games, dude, watching those games is like a foreign world to me, dude. It's like a dude holds up a picture of a duck, and then everyone looks around. They're like, "Yep, we got it." And then like the play is like motion and like a triple option. I'm like, how did they know to do all that when that guy held up that picture? Like, what are these offenses where it's just like they hold up, and defenses too, where they like on the sideline someone's holding up a picture? It boggles my mind.
They look like brain teasers because they'll have like the 4 panels. It'll be like, man wearing pants but no shirt, eggplant, and then like a picture of the Clemson University clock tower, and they'll just have all 4 of those things on one card, and they're like, yeah, let's do it.
After the play, the linebacker smacks the guy upside the head, and the dude's like, "Oh, what the? I thought he had a shirt on. I'm sorry."
I thought it was poop emoji. Damn it.
He's like, "No."
They do put emojis on there, like on the big signs. They'll have big old
Clemson
emojis.
does like all. I feel like like half of them are emojis.
Right? He's like, "No, dummy. It was shirt off, eggplant emoji, poop emoji, toothbrush. Come on.
Don't be an idiot." Albert in here said, "Did you guys see the guy who bet $5 and won $72K? Dang, no, I did not.
Ridiculous.
What do you bet on?"
I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Probably some massive, ridiculous parlay that should never be put in. That's like, to me, that's equivalent of. Did you guys see that guy that, bought a bunch of cheap scratch tickets and accidentally won a bunch of money on one? That's what a parlay like that is. It's probably like a 13-leg parlay to win 72,000.
Okay, so I found it.
Yeah, maybe he had every first touchdown. Every first touchdown score is something else. Yeah,
that's exactly what it is. Was all 4 first touchdown scores from this weekend's game. He had Travis Kelce first touchdown score at plus 600. Dallas Goedert first touchdown score at plus 1,200. Jamar Chase first touchdown score at plus 900, and then Dalton Schultz at plus 1,500. After the first 3 hit, they offered him 1.4K to cash out on a $5 bet. On a $5 bet, offered him 1.4K to cash out. Said no. And Dalton Schultz scores it and cashes out $72,000.
What a cowboy, dude. What a cowboy. Nah, I'm good.
Balls on that guy to do that. I would have taken the 1.4K and ran. Like, give me my one, but man.
Someone tells me this guy's placing a lot of stupid bets. So they offered to pay out 280 times. I mean, dude, if you really think about them, just outright, if you bet $5 and you win 70,000, that means the odds that you had were. So we talk about like plus 100 means $100 to win $100, right? The odds that this guy had were plus 1 million to win. To win. If he had bet $100 on this bet, he would have made $1 million, right? Because he bet
insane.
1.4 million.
Right, because if you bet 5, you win 50,000 on $1 million odds, and he won 70,000.
You gotta be so pissed.
What a psycho, bro! Dude, how do you even put that ticket in when you sit there and it says plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? You gotta be out. You gotta be like, all right, I can take one of these out. What a beast!
Not taking any of it out.
So, dude, he had 3 tight ends on that ticket. He had 3 tight ends and Jamar Chase, and then what was the 5th part of the bet?
It was just those 4.
Oh, it was just 4? things.
Yep.
That was it. So
Yep,
he had
it
the
was
three.
just-
He had the three tight
was-
ends in Jamar Chase. Wow.
Yep, it was all 4 first touchdown scores. Poor Hayden Hurst.
What a hero. Yeah, Hayden Hurst.
He looked at those 4 games and he said, "It's a tight end week, but not you, Hayden Hurst."
Sit
I actually
down.
wanted to ask you if this tweet was too mean. I have it saved in my draft, and it's saved in my draft. It says
Pretty
yeah, it kind of is. The conference round features the best tight ends in the league and Hayden Hurst.
Oh,
Is that too mean? I mean,
not
it
necessarily mean.
is Kelsey, Kittle, Dallas Goedert, and then Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, one of these things is not like the other.
If it was,
It's like at the Pro Football Hall of Fame, whenever at the very end, they've got like all these quarterbacks on the wall. They've got like Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Drew Brees, like just all like it's like 4 guys in a line, and there's just Nick Foles like, "Hey guys, it's me.
it is
Here
funny
with
how
Tom
that goes.
Brady, where I belong."
When they have like the rotating, like we were at the Hall of Fame and they have like the rotating things, and you're like, wait a second, why is he here? And then you read like, oh, is his headband because he fumbled 4 times in one game? I'm like, oh, okay.
Fran
I'm excited to see the Hall of Fame this year. Last year I didn't get to see it,
or the year before.
or the year before. I've never been there.
Never been. Been to Canton once. Supposed to go to Canton twice. Never been to the Hall of Fame.
See your times.
Well, Joe, let me do.
You've been
an
to the Hall of
impression
Fame, dude. I saw the 2 of you guys in the Hall of Fame gift shop.
JL wasn't there.
Oh,
I don't know who you
weren't?
saw.
You weren't there. It's right, dude.
Here, JL.
Yeah,
this
you
is
were,
a.
you
This
were
is
messaging
a.
me. You messaged me that. Oh, I wasn't there.
I know, that's right. I messaged you. Oh, yeah, I knew you weren't even in Canton. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
This is what it's like to be at the Hall of Fame.
I messaged you with very somber. I messaged you with a picture.
I'm one of the busts.
I messaged you with a picture of me wearing your name. Oh no, I messaged you with a picture of Scott Fish wearing your name tag.
That's right.
what it
That's
was.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. The that was a good bust impression.
Thanks.
Classic Scott Fish.
I could tell you were. I could tell you were Eric. You were doing an Eric Dickerson there.
That was Eric Dickerson. I thought about going Fran Tarkenton, but I went Eric Dickerson instead.
That's a tough one. I actually learned from my father-in-law. It was my mother-in-law's birthday. Shout out, Janet.
Shout out.
I actually learned an interesting Fran Tarkenton stat, a fact. It was actually, it's not a stat, it's a fact. He was drafted by 2 different NFL teams.
What?
Or
did they forget? They didn't track it very well?
They're currently NFL teams. At the time, the NFL and AFL was split. So he was drafted by 2 different teams, and he got to choose if he wanted to play in the NFL or the AFL. That's pretty wild, right?
How did that work back then?
Just pretty terrible. It looks like basically
we should do like a Moreau session where we just break down how drafting worked back then.
Can you guess what 2 teams he was drafted by? I'll give you each 2 guesses. They're pretty
Eagles.
Random.
No, this is about to be like embarrassing that I don't even know what team Fran Tarkenton was on. I'm trying to picture him in a jersey. I feel like I can see like a white and blue jersey. The Rams.
He had a weird career. No, it wasn't Rams. He had a weird career where like he was kind of like a cast off, and then he came back and it was awesome.
Tommy said Vikings.
Vikings was one of the teams. Vikings was the NFL team. So the AFL team, and then to give you guys a hint, a lot of the AFL teams are AFC teams now.
The Bengals.
Chiefs.
He was drafted in the 3rd round by the Minnesota Vikings at pick 29, and the 5th round by the New England Patriots. But that was pick 35.
Never heard of him.
So he could have, it was old-timey weird team. But yeah, so he could have played for either team, chose the Vikings. Boo.
Boo. The first Kirk Cousins. Just a guy who plays for the Vikings.
The guy who plays for the Vikings.
Just a guy who plays for the Vikings.
We got
Really-
Spooky.
he
in the
really is
chat, so
just
let's
a
go
guy.
Birds.
Yeah. What's up,
There you
Spooky?
go. There you go, Spooky. I kind of need to be sold on what team to root for moving forward.
How about
No.
Maybe in Master Debaters, you'll be convinced.
I think that'll be the perfect time to do so. That'll be the perfect time to do so.
later segment.
You know what's crazy is that on this show multiple times I said like go Bills, and I like the Bills, and I like their story, and I like their fans, and even though I'm a Patriots fan, I don't really care. And then the game started, found myself once again rooting against the Bills. Just can't root for them.
Immediately.
If they weren't in the division, it might be easier. But I just sit there and I'm like, that's just a different red, white, and blue, baby. That ain't my red, white, and blue.
Spooky in the chat says it's Jalen Hurts' year. He's here to take over the league, Coop. Trying to give you some rooting interest.
Whoa, spookster. I kind of like the sound of that, though. And I kind of like those eagle emojis, too. So
Another team Spooky probably wants to talk about, and Coop represents another team of yours that was knocked out this weekend. Field Yates tweeted out this yesterday. This loss marks the 12th straight postseason appearance that the Cowboys have failed to reach conference championship game. That extends their own record for the longest such streak in the NFL.
it's tough, man.
Ouch.
It's tough. I was pulling for him. I had some money on him, too, but way she goes. I look at some of those losses going back. Some of them were tough, man. Like the one, through the 12 losses, I remember a few of them. There was one versus the Packers that was like Aaron Rodgers just pulling magic. There was the Dez Bryant. Is it a catch? Is it not a catch? I think that might have been the same Packers game. You know what I mean? Like there were a few of them in there that I remember where I was like, not their fault. But when it's 12 straight, then you have to start wondering if maybe it's an organizational thing, right? Because they've got
In an organization under Jerry Jones, there is no way there's any sort of mismanagement, disorganization, or any malpractice leading to negative results, Scoop. I just refuse to believe it.
it's not if there was any evidence of it, it would have been swept under the rug long ago, right? I mean,
Someone busts through the door and just blow darts Coop right now.
it couldn't have been. Just going back through the years, right? It's like
Jerry, you could see Jerry Jones walking in the background,
yeah.
taking a bite of his McMuffin.
Some of the disagreements between him and the coaches, like who would you rather have? Would you rather have Jerry Jones or would you rather have Tom Landry? Because Jerry Jones fired Tom Landry, the guy who
Jarvis's brother.
the guy who invented the 4-3 defense.
Wow.
Would you rather have Jerry Jones or Jimmy Johnson? Because Jerry Jones fired legendary head coach Jimmy Johnson.
Jerry Johnson.
He fired Jerry Johnson too. Because
I don't know. Give me
his name was
if
too
my-
similar.
Yeah.
my options are Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson. I might just pick neither. I respect Jimmy Johnson, but dude's like 80 years old. Let's get both of those guys out of the front office.
What if
Him and
it?
T.O.
What if it was? What if it was like 6-time NASCAR champion Jimmy Johnson instead?
You know me.
Tony Johnson.
I think he's 47, so not nearly as old.
Okay, yeah, you could double that and it would be almost the same number.
You could.
So he's
Joey
got a lot.
Jackson.
He's got a lot left in the tank. Is what you're saying.
The Fran Tarkin tank. We got the Joey in the chat said, can we get JL walking into Simon's background or vice versa at least once?
What does that mean?
We're not in the same state. We're just in the same house.
Every time I hear Texas, even though I live here, I think of that SpongeBob scene where they're like, the clouds are bright and all tonight down here in Texas. You know what I'm talking about? It's
No,
it's
I don't.
totally different words and a different rhythm entirely. But they're
It's
singing
not even
songs
SpongeBob.
trying to piss Sandy off about liking Texas. They're just trying to make her mad.
I know that
I
exact.
forgot
point.
she was from Texas.
She gets very.
That's like the one thing about
I
her.
don't know, but I forgot it.
no, dude. She's also an astronaut and a squirrel.
An astronaut.
So I'd say there's 3 things about her.
Is she an astronaut or is that just a suit to live underwater?
She's an
Just a
astronaut.
suit to wear
Is that a scuba suit?
Check.
It kind of looks like an astronaut suit.
It does, but I've never once considered that the suit that she used to breathe underwater was meant for outer space and not underwater.
I don't think she wears an astronaut suit, but not an astronaut.
Not an astronaut. Not an astronaut. And Albert wants to know, do you like the Riverwalk? There's parts of the Riverwalk that are fantastic.
Oh, time out,
And
dude. Science. Sandy has shown she has a vast knowledge of passion of science. Several episodes feature her doing experiments, beginning with Sandy's rocket, which reveals that she is, in fact, an astronaut.
Wow. What season was that?
Sandy's rocket was season 1.
Oh, damn. Bright and early. They're just getting that out
Yeah.
of the way. She is an astronaut. I can't even fight against that.
There you go, boys. You learn something new every day about Texas squirrels.
Yeehaw.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Jerry Jones, did you guys see before the game yesterday during warmups, Brett Maher missed 2 more extra points and Jerry Jones walked down on the field to talk to him. So he went 14 for 20 during warmups. And after 2 more of those misses, Jerry Jones walked down on the field. Tim Kawakami tweeted out that he has never seen that before. The owner of the team coming down on the field during warmups. Also, can you imagine? That's what he needs to calm his nerves, right? Nothing will calm his nerves quite like the billionaire owner of the team walking down on the field to like, hey, bud,
Let you know he's watching.
you
grab
got
your
this.
grab your face mask. Grab your face mask with his egg McMuffin breath and be like, "We're all watching. World's watching. World's watching, Brett."
You just hear,
This is my blow dart.
Jerry has a shotgun in his sleeve that he's just like bringing down onto the field. He's like, it's been a while since us Cowboys made it to the conference championship game.
You know this,
You
Brett.
know what happens if you miss.
And then he gets that kick blocked. I know we're not. And then the best part was the announcers couldn't just leave it at it being blocked. They had to go back and show the replay and be like, and just so everyone knows, that was going to miss by like 10 feet, even if it didn't get blocked.
Rude, dude. People love others' misfortune, right? People were so mad every time he would make a kick. They're just like, gotta delete my tweet now.
Just cheering for the storyline to continue over and over and over again.
Yep.
Though Jill and I were talking about it a little bit yesterday. The yips are one of the weirdest phenomenons in professional football because they're real. They are real, but they're in your head. It's psychological, but it is. So like Brett Maher is a great kicker. He regularly drills 50+ yarders during the regular season. And then he gets in his head and we're sitting here just like he can't recover. To miss 5 in a row last week or 4 in a row, miss one this week.
Dude, the craziest one is John Lester. You guys heard about his yips, John Lester?
I barely know him. You're going to have to tell me about it.
So John Lester, MLB pitcher for 16 years, pitched for multiple teams, mostly the Red Sox and Cubs. And, like 5-time All-Star. I don't think he ever won the Cy Young, but he was always in the running a lot of times. Just threw absolute gas, right? This guy probably threw thousands and thousands of pitches, maybe over 10,000. But he could not throw the ball to first base to save his life, to the point where teams would just bunt it straight to him and make it safely at first base. In fact, a lot of times teams would just bunt it straight to him and they would make it to second base because he would throw it way over the first baseman's head in the stands, or he'd throw it at his feet. Like something about the different throw. Like he could throw it successfully from the mound to home plate on like a dime. And then he would get the ball at the mound, just could not throw to first base. He had the yips. He just couldn't do it. This went on for years and years. He could not throw the ball to first base.
I mean, that's what Hayden Hurst. That's why he stopped playing baseball, right? He got the yips essentially.
He was
as
a pitcher. Yeah, as a pitcher. We've seen that too. There was another guy, Rick Ankiel, who had a cannon arm, but he just like if you go and watch him have the yips, he's throwing pitches that are just hitting the top of the backstop, like not even close, dude. And they took him and they were like, "Well, you're a great baseball player," so they just took him and put him in center field. And it was crazy because he would just throw people out from like center to third base on a rope. Like he has some of the best throws I've ever seen, but because he has a cannon arm, but he just couldn't pitch because he had the yips. He couldn't consistently throw the ball over the plate. And we're not talking like he would just throw balls. Like this dude couldn't even hit the catcher. The catcher couldn't even reach half of him. Crazy.
That's wild. Yeah, it's totally real. That's terrifying. That's
I went
terrifying.
down. I think like the psychology in sports is so interesting, especially for pitchers. And not even too long ago, like a couple months ago, I went down a YouTube rabbit hole of there was a former softball college pitcher, like a NCAA softball pitcher who took footage from her old games, like at bats, and would narrate her thought process throughout the at-bat process. Like, not just what they were talking about in the game, like, okay, but this is where my catcher started calling this, but I didn't feel comfortable with it, so I just switched and told her, I got it. I'm calling my own pitches for this one. And just running through, like, not just the pitch selection, but what she was thinking in the moment. And it's wild thinking how many thoughts go into the selection of every single pitch. It's not just, a curveball here.
Oh yeah, they have tape.
They're playing
they have all sorts of
chess.
stuff. Yeah, it's wild, dude. It's wild, man.
It's a nice little chess matchup there. Yeehaw.
I see Stephon Diggs was reportedly he darted out of the locker room with all the stuff before some of the Bills coaches were even down to the tunnel area. Practice squad Duke Johnson had to stop Diggs before he left the stadium and brought him back to the locker room, but he left a few minutes later. Sean McDermott did say that he was there for the post-game speech that he gave, but it seems like Stephon Diggs throughout this game was getting more and more frustrated with his team's performance. So pretty wild. You haven't really seen like outbursts like this.
I forgot Duke Johnson was on the Bills.
Yeah, they just kind of once they I feel like once they were supposed to get J.D. McKissick, then he went back to Washington. They were just like, that's it. We're getting everybody that looks like J.D. McKissick. Right? Give me we'll take Duke Johnson, we'll take James Cook, we'll take Nyheim Hines. Just give us all. Forget J.D. McKissick. We don't need him.
We don't even want him anymore. We got J.D. McKissick at home.
Yeah, 3 of them.
No, but I feel like people like to paint Stephon Diggs as erratic or something because of his tweets, know what I mean, or highly emotional, but it's a highly emotional situation. There was a lot riding on that. He's allowed to be upset. Like, there's nothing that's going to come of this. People trying to say, oh, how many years left on his contract? Oh, he's going to try. Like, no. He's playing ball there with Josh Allen, who he loves. They've got a great relationship. Wildly disappointing end to the season, but it's going to be back out there. It's going to be good to go. Just upset. He lost a big game in a season that I think it was Super Bowl or bust for those Bills. Anything less was going to be disappointing.
Yeah. And that, do you think it's more disappointing that he got 10 targets, or do you think he'd feel better if he only got like 4? Because sometimes, it's not like he wasn't getting looks. Double-digit targets is quite a bit. He only reeled in 4 of them. 4 for 35 on 10 targets. Got to be pretty disappointed with either the quality of those passes or his own performance.
Right.
But maybe his thought process was, if you don't have anything nice to say, then don't say anything at all. And he just removed himself from that situation.
Potentially, though they did bring him back, but the report after that was that he left the locker room like just minutes after Duke Johnson even brought him back to the locker room. So he was out of there. He was ready to leave.
Right.
And Josh Allen, the opposite, just sat there sitting in his locker, staring at his phone is where the reports were coming out. He wasn't in a rush to get out of there. He just stayed in his uniform. Sitting in his locker. That's the image. That's the sports movie image that they show of the guy in his jersey. Just the lights go out. Janitor they walk in with the trash can. And they're like, oh, sorry, didn't know you were in here, bud. He's like I'll be out of your hair in a minute.
Our generation's version of like Len Dawson smoking a butt and drinking a Fresca is, just a big goofy kid looking at his phone.
Drinking a Fresca.
Right, dude, playing Candy Crush.
Imagine
if he was just sitting there on his phone playing like Tetris.
Volume on Candy Crush. She's sitting there playing Candy Crush on his phone with all the sounds on.
He's like, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about this level. I'm thinking about this level since halftime. Yeah.
You guys see so before the games this weekend, the Bengals were just getting themselves hyped up about, they're already selling tickets to the neutral site game, already selling tickets, which, let's be real for a minute, that's just what they do. You could also already buy tickets to a Bills-Chiefs game. At the same time, tickets were available for a Bengals-Chiefs AFC Championship game as well. But they love a good bulletin board material there in Cincinnati. Right. And after the game, all of those players just let them have it. The Bengals Twitter tweeted out, hope those fans are getting their refunds. And Joe Burrow after the game said, better send those refunds. They're just swimming in it. They are loving it.
Yeah, that's his I didn't write back quote, right? Like that's the Geno Smith, they wrote me off. I didn't write back though.
I didn't write back.
They're gonna be selling shirts with the refund stuff, I bet. That was a good
Better
one.
send those refunds.
Better send those refunds.
Man, to be in a situation where a one-liner has weight, I don't think I'm ever in like a one-liner situation. You know what I mean? It's not like a HEB when they're like, will that be all? I can be like, oh yeah, it is.
Big
Like,
classy, Dewsville.
there's not enough weight behind any situation I'm in to deliver a one-liner with purpose.
That would be nice if there was, though. Yeah, exactly. Like, no, not enough people know what I have going on. They would just be like, what is he talking about?
You finally get your chance, but you fumble it.
Yeah.
And here we go. Shoot.
That's like that famous bowler quote. Who do you think you are? I am. Right? It's like not even close to right. But and the best part about that quote is, you know why he said that?
Why?
No.
He said that as like the whole thing seems cool, but it's actually not. It was like some kid was like heckling him during the thing, and by most reports, he wasn't even really like heckling him. He was just kind of like cheering for the other guy, and he like that. So that was him like trying to yell at some kid that was heckling him, and he was trying to say, "Who do you think you are? Like, I'm the man." And instead, he was like, "Who do you think you are? I am."
Who do you think you are? I am.
Yeah,
Just saying that to people.
but he kind
If
of
they
crushed
make me
it.
upset.
You say it with enough gusto, it doesn't matter, right?
It
You
doesn't.
like that.
Mark Chase had something to say about this as well. He said, we were proving people wrong. The NFL was doing stuff to get the Bills to go to the Super Bowl. They're trying to make it seem like we're not ready. We're here to prove it. Did you see that quote from him yesterday?
I mean,
They are just injecting them with poison there in Cincinnati. Like, I don't know what Zach Taylor's doing to get these guys to just fully believe this poison, but they believe the entire world is against them. Like, down to their core, it seems like they believe it.
gotta have that chip on your shoulder, man. It does help. It does help. You know, and then on the flip side, you look at the Bills and they all came out and said, they kind of all said the same thing. Like, we just didn't have it today. We had nothing today. Matt Milano said there was no real energy, no juice, no momentum. I don't know how you show up to a game like this without the juice, but
Completely
Without the
happens.
juice.
Yeah,
Jay,
it totally happens.
you're just saying that because you're drinking water this morning. You actually do have no juice.
Sometimes you run out of the juice. Sometimes you forget to bring your own juice. You know what I'm saying?
Should have brought it with you.
Should've brought
BYOJ.
it. Simon was very kind to buy me juice here. I will say, I'm making it out to be like he's a terrible host.
Well, where is the juice?
It's in the fridge. I don't have my gravy boat.
You just having water because that's what you're supposed to have.
As soon as I got here, Simon's like, "Here, I got you a juice cup. It's a gravy boat." So Saturday, I'm sitting there drinking my OJ out of my gravy boat.
It did look like a nice boat.
It was a nice boat.
We got Dustin in here. Said, been here 5 minutes. Already too much football talk.
Already too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you came in at just about the wrong time, Dustin. Just about the wrong time for that. But don't worry, we're going to talk more about that Bills game at some point going on. And Joey said, Jail, it looks like you're about to teach us about some animals. He's pulling up, this is a purple-bellied salamander. They're said to be extremely venomous, but let's find out.
Why does it have to be like an accent? Because I immediately thought to go to accent too.
Steve Irwin's the best to ever. No one has
Irwin.
ever showed us an animal better than Steve Irwin has showed us an animal. So
That's true.
that's where you
Crikey.
go.
Crikey.
His son is doing a pretty good job of being the next Steve Irwin. I've seen some clips of him, seen some pictures of them side by side.
Has his own shows and
It's
stuff.
all,
Yeah.
it's like kind of like a beer fest situation. He should have just been he should have just been like, let's skip all the part where like my dad died.
Oh my god, it's a beer. I had no idea where you were going with. It's like a beer fest situation at first.
The one character dies and they're just like, I'm his twin brother. Let's just pretend like I'm the same dude. Like, close enough. I'll take
Jill,
it.
what animal are you gonna teach us about first?
I'm gonna teach you about the yellow bellied salamander.
Wow.
Just went straight to salamander again. It's the
Sounds
only animal I
poisonous.
can think of. It's very poisonous.
It's
Venomous or poisonous?
It's very venom poisonous.
Ah, the classic.
Tommy Sakamoto.
We got Joey in the chat letting us know that Tristan just lost their first tooth.
Whoa.
Tooth fairy in the house.
There you go, Tristan. Tristan, if you're listening to the show right now,
Get
just
that money,
know
son.
the going rate for your first tooth is $50. I'm not sure what it is after
50
that.
is 100 by where I'm from.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? It's been a long time since I lost a tooth. So based on inflation, it probably is about 100 these days. So
About 100 nowadays. So yeah. Expect
for
100.
the first two. After that, it's the rate goes down a bit. But for that first one, Tristan, if you are listening, it is 100. So
it goes from 100 to a cool 75.
Yeah. And then you would think it goes down from then on, but it actually stays right there until all the teeth.
It stays right there. Yeah.
When it's actually like donating blood plasma, where like it starts off 100, then it goes 75, 75, 75, but then that fourth one is going to be 100 again. And then it resets back to the beginning, and it goes like that.
Right.
Wow.
And then the fifth one's an Xbox.
And then the fifth one's an Xbox. I've got so many Xboxes.
Honestly, this is how I know I'm getting old. Is that once that came up, I was like thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, if I woke up with an Xbox under my head, my neck would be wrecked.
Just put it next to my bed.
My day would be over. You can keep the Xbox.
Yeah, I am so particular about a pillow. If it is not my pillow, I struggle. Like if I leave to go out of town and I forget my pillow, it ruins everything. It's the worst.
I don't like that.
I have special pillows.
Special pillows.
All my pillows are special.
Prescription?
No, not prescription.
Do they have prescription pillows?
Yeah, for your head.
Oh, that's cool.
You go to the head doctor, get a prescription pillow.
Not to bring us back into football, but did you guys see? Well, actually, it's exactly what I meant to do. I don't know why I had to preface it with like a misdirect that this is not what I'm doing, but this is what I'm doing. Giants running back Saquon Barkley, who's going to be a pending free agent this year, said he's not really too concerned with resetting the market. He said, I'm realistic. Having 2 years of injuries doesn't help.
That was the news I was going to bring up, but then I remembered that the Giants played this weekend, so that is still news from teams that played this weekend. So I was actually going to bring that one up earlier.
That was dumb.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb. Speaking of dumb, it's dumb is openly talking about your injuries when you're trying to get paid.
Yeah, I had that same thought whenever I heard this. Like, not that it's a secret, but to come out and kind of like talk yourself down, like you gotta be your biggest advocate in situations like this. You gotta come out and say, I'm gonna I know what I'm worth. I know what my value is to a team, and just say those things. That doesn't mean you're not willing to take a team friendly deal, but dude, be your biggest supporter in situations like this. Hype yourself up. You're Saquon freaking Barkley. Right. Who cares if you have 2 years of injuries? You're still Saquon Barkley.
Exactly, dude. His agent is probably just like, shh, quiet now. Saquon, you be quiet.
Stop speaking.
I will do the talking. Let's start with the positives.
It'll be interesting to see what the Giants do. If they decide to bring him back, what they do with Daniel Jones. I think they'll be one of the more interesting offseason teams.
Daniel Jones, how the narrative changes. Like, oh, last week he's a franchise QB, and this week they're just like, get him out. He's done. Last week he was Josh Allen, right? But I guess, based on how Josh Allen played this week, maybe he is Josh Allen.
We're all Josh Allen on this.
We're all Josh Allen.
Sorry, Dustin. Didn't mean it like that, but I kind of did.
Dustin said, when I got married 11 years ago, my wife made fun of me for my pillow. Now we have 4 that are very similar because her and my son love it. If people mock the pillow till it's time. What I don't understand are the people that sleep with one little newspaper pillow. Like a pillow that's like this thin. Like they just get one little sheet of newspaper and they're like, perfect. That's exactly where I want my head to be. Just like this.
When I have a pillow like that, I just fold it up until it's a very short pillow.
Thing. Yeah. Just fold that baby in half, and in half again if you need to.
Do you guys like a more firm or a more soft pillow?
memory foam is what I want, and I want my head to like kind of sink into it. Not a super firm memory foam, an elastic one.
It depends for me on where I'm going to put the pillow. If it's like a head pillow, a little bit firmer. But then if it's like one of those little side pillows, soft.
What if it's a between the legs pillow?
Between the legs pillow, memory foam.
Soft.
Ideal.
Jail likes the cooling memory foam down there.
I got one of those tufted needle pillows for the knees. Ooh, on point.
Massaging pillow?
No massage. That'd be weird if it was just like on your legs while you're sleeping.
Like what, Jail? Something that
would certainly be weird if it was like that.
It's all warm too.
Yeah.
Blowing hot air.
Something I love.
Now it's starting to sound terrible.
I feel like something I love the idea of, but I hate in practice is the down pillows, the ones with feathers in them, because like that sounds soft. Like growing up, you hear that that's luxury, but in reality, they just stab you. Like just the little stems of the feathers just poke out of the pillow, and you're laying there, all of a sudden you get like stabbed in the neck. You got feathers like stuck out of your skin. It's not
They're
nice.
so soft.
Too squishy. You just like sink into it, and then all of a sudden it's like folded over your face and suffocating you because they're so soft.
But if you can get one that's not stabby, I'm with Jail. I like them, but if once they get stabby, I'm out.
Yeah, stabby I feel like is when it's at the end of its life a little bit.
Jay says my pillow looks like a spaceship. Well, ride that spaceship to nighttime, baby. Yeehaw! Hop on my spaceship. My name's Jay Felicio.
Oh,
Jerry Jones Felicio.
I wanted to give one more Joe Burrow stat while we were talking about the Bengals here and the poison in their locker room. Just a fun little stat. He now has as many playoff wins as the Bengals did in their entire history before drafting him. Wow. Joe Burrow individually. He's the greatest quarterback for the Bengals ever now, right? Like already.
Who do you guys think the second greatest quarterback is for them?
Andy Dalton.
That's where I would go to, but I'm not confident in saying Andy Dalton's the second greatest anything.
They did have a quarterback that was MVP of the league.
So maybe that guy.
Yeah, that guy sounds like.
You've heard of this player as well.
I bet I have.
Thomas Lamas.
Thomas.
The chat's got it there. First name
Carson
is
Palmer.
Boomer
Esiason.
Boomer Esiason was a MVP quarterback for the Bengals.
Simon's favorite player.
Yeah, I saw a Boomer Esiason rookie card at an antique store this weekend with JL.
How much was it?
I don't know. I didn't look because I figured I couldn't afford it.
Smart. Keep those bad thoughts out of your head. That's you pulled the Stephon Diggs. You just took yourself away from the
I just remove myself from the situation. Yeah, I'm going to turn around. I'm going to go look at the things I can't afford, like these cups with squirrels on them and thimbles.
Dodge those bad thoughts, man. That was smart.
Stay away from baseball cards. Only collect thimbles.
Another interesting stat coming out of this weekend is the San Francisco 49ers now they've only made playoffs 6 times in the last 20 seasons, but they've made it to at least the NFC Championship game in all 6 of those appearances.
So they're like the anti-Cowboys.
They are like the anti-Cowboys.
Cowboys just getting in and doing nothing, and the
49ers always make it to the championship game.
They don't get in that often, but when they do, they strike hard.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the way to do it.
Just show up, take care of business, go home. We're not messing around. We don't waste time here. You think we're going to waste our miles on a game we're going to lose? Absolutely not.
Cowboys, meanwhile, they've lost 7 straight games in the divisional round. 7 straight games in the divisional round.
Oops. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's tough, dude, because like at this point, like you look at this team, and I even asked the question on Twitter yesterday just to see what people think. I said, what's the flaw in this team, this Cowboys team, that makes you say they can't win the Super Bowl? And the answers, there were a lot of joke answers, right? Like kicker, which is kind of funny and kind of true. But the main 3 answers I was getting were Dak Prescott. And most of it was actually not even that Dak Prescott's bad. It's that Dak Prescott's inconsistent, which proved to be true this playoffs. He had a great game last week. This week, terrible game. Mike McCarthy, which I think is valid, right? There's been a lot of criticism of him. And Jerry
The
Jones.
end of that game was miserable, and I feel like the end of that game, that's on the coaching.
So those are the three main real answers I was getting were Dak, Mike McCarthy, and Jerry Jones. And 2 out of 3 of those aren't even part of the game. They're not on the field. They're front office types. One of them can't be removed, right? So kind of brutal. Like if you put together, which I believe they had arguably the most balanced team they've had in a long time. Like they've had good offenses, but they never really had a defense like this. And they still had a good offensive line. Tyron Smith, Zach Martin. Like this is one of the more balanced teams you're going to see. If they can't do it with this team, you have to wonder if it's organizational. Sorry, gotta say it, dude. Might be coming from the top down.
Jerry,
top down.
hate to break it to you, bud, but here we are.
Jira.
Mr. Jones, I got to say something. My name's Coop, and I think you got an organizational problem.
It starts at the top.
I think you got ants.
I see this like picnic you packed. There's ants in it, Jerry. There's ants in the potato salad. There's ants in the potato salad, and ain't nobody going to eat that, Jerry. We need new potato salad with Newfoundland cheese instead of mayonnaise, Jerry. We're sick of this mayonnaise.
Just a bunch of Cowboys fans, dude, distracted by this big old Jumbotron eating a bunch of ants. We're sick of it, Jerry. We're sick of it.
We're not eating any more of your ants, Jerry.
So, but what are you going to do? I mean, he's going to own the team until he's never going to sell the team. So you just got to deal with it.
It's his favorite thing in the world is owning that team. He loves it so much. There's real joy in his eyes every time he's talking about the Dallas Cowboys. It ain't going anywhere.
Good for him.
It ain't going anywhere. Dustin said it's really Coke he's putting on his McGriddle, not salt.
Can you imagine?
You have a Coke shaker?
What a horrible way to start your day. Just awful.
McDonald's and Coke. The American way.
Just all gooned out and sticky.
I call it the Dallas special.
The Dallas special.
The McGriddle and Coke.
Jerry Jones did say this loss isn't going to impact Mike McCarthy's job. So it looks like he's at least confident enough that he's keeping Mike McCarthy around.
Or he was going to fire him anyways.
Or he's going to fire him. That's a really good point. This does not impact Mike McCarthy's job because he doesn't have a job.
Wouldn't that be funny if he came out and said that and then fired him?
That would be hilarious.
Don't worry. This will not impact my decision because it's already been made, you idiot. You're fired.
A while ago. Yeah, there should be more mic drops like that.
There should be.
Just out of there.
Yeah. Just smoke them.
Coming up, we're going to break down some of these NFL games from this past weekend. Get prepped for the conference championships by breaking down the divisional round. We've got some superlatives to hand out as well. And then we're going to play a new game called Master Debaters at the end of the show today. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra.
Okay, it is now time for our Lucra app contest of the day. Obviously, we have been telling you about Lucra throughout the last couple of weeks here on the Better Sports Network. What we're talking about is an app that you can download. You sign up, you registered. I was looking at it today because I'm in Missouri, and it's like, well, Missouri doesn't have legalized, excitement of wagering, betting, all that, but you can do Lucra. And the reason you can do it is it's a contest. You challenge a friend, you challenge a buddy, family member, whoever it is, and you can look at that day's events and you can kind of say, okay, I'm going to take this side of the coin. You want to take this side, most points scored or most yards thrown for, whatever you want to do. You can create these contests. Money is put up. Right now, when you sign up, you download the Lucra app, you sign up, you register, use the promo code BSN, and they will throw in a free $5 for you to get rolling. So get that app, use the promo code BSN. You're good to go. Challenge your friends, your family, enemies, whoever you want to challenge, you can do it. Ray and I are challenging each other in our own little contest, and we'll do this throughout the week where we'll kind of say, I'll take this side, you take that side. We are looking specifically, Ray, today at the Cincinnati and Buffalo game. This will be the first game on Sunday. Right now, the money line has Buffalo minus 225, and Cincinnati is at plus 190. So I send you the contest. It pops up in the Lucra app. People will see, oh, so-and-so wants to challenge me. Let's see what he's wanting to play for. So, Ray, we're doing a challenge on the pick'em, the money line here to win straight up. Buffalo, Cincinnati, what side do you have?
I'm taking the side where I'm going to win, and I'm not going to get any money for it. I'm going to take the Bills. It's a tough matchup, right? And there's absolutely a path to success here for the Bengals. I just looked at the Bengals last week, and you mentioned this yesterday. Yeah, like they didn't look sharp. And again, the game flow and the way it went, and okay, but they didn't do much. In the second half, they didn't have the ball, but they didn't do much in the second half. They've had a hard time establishing the run of late. More importantly, they've lost multiple offensive linemen, so now there's all kinds of concern, which is the area that they work to strengthen on. We all were excited about the offensive line coming into this season. The season started, the offensive line wasn't very good. We also, what the hell? They finally figured it out, got rolling. Now the guys are falling away with injury. There are concerns with the Bills that I have expressed with you for weeks now, months now, even with the offense. But it's a home game for the Bills. I think that they're going to pose some problems for the Bengals. And I think that they'll win, but that money line would not make me excited about betting that one specifically, but using Lucra and getting able to play against you, I'm in.
That is our Lucra app contest of the day. Ray's taking the Buffalo side straight up. I'm going with Cincinnati. We'll continue to hit you with some Lucra app contest as we go through the week. And again, reminder, head over to your favorite app store, download it now. Lucra, by the way, is how you spell that.
Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. Winning is fun, and beating your friends is even better. Download the Lucra app today to challenge your friends and win money.
Oi, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's Monday, January 23rd, the year 2023, and we're here like we are every single morning, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you guys like what we're doing over here, you should head on over to our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy, hit that subscribe button, check out the clips we're putting out, shorts we're pulling from this show, and the other shows we have on our channel. We're playing games all the time, just like we do on here. Nothing but games. Joe, you like games?
It's in the games.
It's in the games.
I love games.
In the games.
Too.
It's what we do. We got Joey in here saying he always has Coke with his sausage biscuit too, but he doesn't pour it on there. It would be too soggy. We got two soggy jokes in the chat. Soggy from Jay and soggy from Joey. They're not a fan of soggy biscuits. But you know who is a fan of soggy biscuits?
Who?
Doug Peterson.
Oh, the soggiest.
It's just the soggy biscuit got laid right in his lap this weekend. The Jaguars and Chiefs showed down this weekend, and the Chiefs came out on top 27-20 in this one. But pretty quick turnaround for this Jaguars team to even make it to the divisional round of the playoffs and compete with the Kansas City Chiefs. A one-score game against the Chiefs in the divisional round. It's looking pretty bright for the Jaguars, Coop. This is definitely one of those teams like you talked about where they've already overachieved. Like, of course, you're disappointed if you're a Jaguars fan that they're not going further, but you didn't expect Super Bowl this year. And heading to the divisional round, competing against the Chiefs, and then going into next year with Trevor Lawrence, with Travis Etienne, with Calvin Ridley, with Doug Peterson as your head coach. You're feeling pretty optimistic, I think.
Yeah, you got a lot of those pieces in place. I mean, not only do you have Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, but they also managed to trade for Calvin Ridley. So they'll have him join the squad. Evan Ingram, up in the air whether he's going to come back. This week he played 97% of the snaps. Did okay. He was involved. But it'll be interesting to see if he stays or leaves. He said that he wants to stay. A quote from him after the game. He said a lot after the game. And basically said he loves Jacksonville. He wants to be there. He said that he felt that his passion for the game was kind of going away. And then the moment he got to Jacksonville, he was back. He was reinvigorated. So it'll be interesting. On one hand, you want to see the guy happy. He likes being there. If they pay him, great. But for a fantasy football perspective, it's going to be pretty crowded if he stays there. So I'm not sure. I'm kind of torn on it. You want the guy to be happy, but I do have him some dynasty leagues. I almost want him to leave. Well, I don't know. How do you guys feel? Do you think it's better for him to stay, or like, because if he stays, it's kind of a medium floor, medium ceiling situation. Whereas the idea of him going just somewhere else, that's a low floor but high ceiling situation. Which would you prefer if you had him in a dynasty league?
I've seen him on a team be completely and totally fantasy irrelevant, like just entirely fantasy irrelevant. After his rookie season, it went downhill quickly. I would be too nervous. We know Trevor Lawrence likes throwing the ball, even if it's a little bit more crowded there. Keep him in Jacksonville. I would love to see him stay in Jacksonville. And then you add to that's kind of what he wants. That's just a little cherry on top.
What do you think, Joe?
Yeah, I'm with Simon. Keep him in Jacksonville.
I think he could easily be a top 10 tight end there, but top 5 would be tough unless you fade 2 out of 3 of those wide receivers pretty hard. Like if Evan Ingram were going to be a top 5 tight end again, people are going to be pretty disappointed with a couple of those wide receiver options just because it's,
Calvin Ridley didn't work out or something.
It would have to be something like that. It would have to be something like that, yeah. And the thing with Evan Ingram is that he was a top 5 quarterback with Trevor Lawrence. He was a top 5 quarterback with Eli Manning in tight end in fantasy football. With Daniel Jones, not so much. So you're right. The downside is there, but I mean, there is upside if he goes elsewhere as well, obviously.
Yeah. Kevin Franken here. What's up, Kevin? Say good morning,
What
gentlemen.
up, Evan? Good
Morning, Kevin.
Yeehaw.
Oh, yeah.
Hogs up.
Hogs up. Yeah. So this game, I mean, the Jaguars hung in there, but I don't know. Did you guys feel like they had a real shot in this one, or what did you walk away? How did you walk away from this game feeling about it?
It felt like the Chiefs had it in hand, but the Jaguars, they put up a fight. And I was glad to see them stick in this game. But it did feel like the Chiefs were the better team,
right?
Which is what we expected going in, right? This is a bit of a chalk game in my mind.
Yeah. Had they won, had the Jaguars won, I almost like Tommy points out, Jamal Agnew fumbled at the 2-yard line, which stinks because Agnew was having a good game up to that point.
He had a couple of big break-off runs.
Yeah, big. He had the big kicker, like 40-yard kick return there. That Butker made an amazing kicker tackle. That would have been a touchdown if he didn't get him. He had the sideline.
We love a kicker tackle.
Yeah. Had the Jaguars won, I don't think I would have walked away from that game saying the Jaguars better than the Chiefs, though.
No,
I honestly would have walked away saying any given Sunday, to be honest, because the Chiefs did look and feel like the better team. I mean, Travis Kelce, dude, is unstoppable. He truly. How is he getting so open though? It's like he's the guy. He's a giant. He's got these friggin' glowing yellow gloves and shoes, right? It's like, how are you losing track of this fella? Like, I don't understand. Like, I can understand if he could make a bunch of contested catches. How is he getting so impossibly open all the time?
He's good.
I know he's good, but it's just like, come on. Everybody on the defense is faster than this guy. How is he so open? How is nobody else on the screen? That's my question.
He's
how
real
is no
good.
one on the
He's really good.
Nobody else is on the screen half the time. I'm like, how is that possible? I keep thinking, I'm like, that's got to be Noah Gray or somebody, because like obviously someone's covering Travis Kelce, right? Like, it's crazy to me, man. Jason Witten used to do the same thing. Jason Witten would run like a 5 flat 40, this big goon when you were in white, and he would convert every third down. It's just, I don't know. Some guys just have the magic, man. He's magic.
It does look like sometimes somehow they made some sort of deal to always be open, right?
Yeah, with the devil, dude. 17 targets, 14 catches, 98 yards, and 2 touchdowns. 14 catches on 17 targets. What in tarnation?
He's pretty good at football, Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty all right at football.
So good, dude. First round pick next year in fantasy football? Yes or no?
No.
Yes.
Split down the middle. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it personally. It's policy.
I know you won't. I was going to say, I know you won't, Coop, but I'm about it. I'm fine with it.
So I just invent a top 5 tight end out of the ashes. Evan Ingram, ADP 22 overall, give me that guy.
If you're sitting there at the end of the first round, I got no issue grabbing Travis Kelce. There's some safety in grabbing Travis Kelce in that first round as well. And some comfort in your lineup. Done. You're set. 1 week, unless there's an injury that you have to figure out. The bye. There are very few tight ends where it's just set it and forget it with full trust like you do with Travis Kelce. Even with Kittle and Mark Andrews, there's some more inconsistencies that you have there, right?
Right. That's true. Yeah, they get lost in the matchups. They become tight end touchdown dependent at times. Not Kelce. The thing with me though is that like I understand positional scarcity. Obviously, it's a thing that matters, right? Otherwise, we would all just draft quarterbacks first because quarterbacks score the most points. But because there's an abundance of them available that score a lot of points, then we don't draft them high. Same with tight ends. There's not many that score a lot of points. That's why we do draft them high. But my policy is that I'm not going to draft a tight end until all the players are gone that could be the number one flex player. I don't care about positional scarcity. I want the guy that scores the most points at that, at RB or wide receiver first. And that's why for me, Travis Kelce usually ends up being ranked around like 15 or 16, and I don't get him,
Nerd.
Sorry.
With your rules. But on the other side of the ball here in this game, Patrick Mahomes was clearly a little bit banged up, left the game for a little bit there. Chad Henne came in. Are you guys concerned about Patrick Mahomes' health here for the rest of the playoffs?
He was limping around during this game. A little concerned.
Not for the rest of the playoffs, though. I'm concerned for this week, but if you get through this week, there's media week, so they do the media week where there's the Pro Bowl and then the Super Bowl. So realistically, there's 3 weeks until the big game. So if he can manage to, run some shotgun, get through this game, then he has 2 more weeks to heal up. He'll be full 3 weeks out from the injury. And I think at that point, I would not be worried.
I mean, that's a big if though, right? To get through the Bengals with an injured Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, that's why I say that I wouldn't, for me, I don't phrase it as rest of the playoffs. I'm worried about this week.
Because it's over either way. And then he's got 2 weeks to wait till the Super Bowl as long as he didn't re-aggravate it or make it worse in this game, or they're going home. He's got till next season.
Exactly. Like if he's good enough to win this game and then you 2 weeks, I'm not going to be worried about it in the Super Bowl. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco showed up in this game, 12 carries, 95 yards, almost 8 yards a carry. Had a long one or two that he broke off in this one. And I don't know what to do with these running backs in Kansas City going into next season. It seems like it works offensively for them to kind of spread the ball around a little bit, but it makes it a little bit confusing from a fantasy perspective.
Yeah, I'll tell you one benefit of having 2 backs like that and kind of leaving it up in the air is that when they do get in the game, these guys play hard, man. They run hard. Isaiah Pacheco was like looking for contact. He was not scared of it. And if you have one running back and he knows it's his job, maybe he does shy away from contact or, try and go out of bounds or whatever. These 2 dudes were like, I'm in. It's my time, right? Like I'm making a play here because I know that I'm coming out. You got to the coaches say it all the time. He needs to make the most of his snaps, right? Like these guys, when they get in there, they're like, it's my time. I'm about to make a play. So it is interesting to say. Although Sky Moore got a handoff and he said that and he got popped. Not sure if you saw this guy Moore handoff, but
No.
dude, he got I was watching with my father-in-law, and both of us turned to each other and we were like, he got bundled there.
Just
Bundled.
Yeah, he got mockled.
Home and auto, baby.
Yeah, he got bundled up. He definitely needs his insurance after that one. Yeah, that was he put his head down, but he probably should not have.
1 carry for 3 yards. I'm guessing it was right at that 3rd yard where he got blasted.
Oh yeah, dude. He was. Let's just say he got 3 yards, but he was back at the line of scrimmage when the play ended.
He's no Kadarius Toney
Oh, no.
with his 1 carry.
Darius Toney, dude, he's too hot.
I mean, Toney, besides Travis Kelce, of all the wide receivers, Toney was the leading receiver in this game. 7 targets. The only other player with more than 2 targets in this game besides Travis Kelce was Kadarius Toney. Again, I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity in this Chiefs offense as we go into next year. They traded for Toney, so they clearly like him. Juju Smith-Schuster is a free agent after this. I'm not sure if he'll be back. It sounds like he wants to be. Is there Kadarius Toney renaissance happening as we go into next season? Is he going to be fantasy relevant? A full offseason with the Chiefs?
Freak athlete,
Could be.
man. It seemed there was more attitude problems with the Giants, right?
Or giant problems?
Giant problems too. I don't know, man.
He's looked explosive whenever he has been in, but like any of these first round picks, I mean, it remains to be seen. We could see him step up and really carve out a role in this offense. So we could see him be used more of a gadget type player here, which is kind of how they've used him up till now.
Yeah, there's a stat called on player profile called burst score. It says this indicates a player's zero inertia explosiveness, stop, start, acceleration, ability to catch the ball outside the body. Similar concept to agility score. So this burst score, that number, it includes their vertical height, broad jump distance, and then I believe they factor in 40 time to the equation as well. His burst score is 97th percentile.
Hot damn.
NFL players.
Gosh dang.
So this guy can, and we saw, like the big, if you go back and watch the highlights from the big game he had against the Cowboys, this guy can change direction on a dime. So, it's interesting. I keep saying it. I'm like, why are teams helping the Chiefs, dude? Why did the Ravens trade them Orlando Brown? Why are teams giving them what could be the next Tyreek Hill? Stop helping the Chiefs, dude. Stop
Coming
helping
from
this
a
team.
Patriot. I feel like everyone said that about the Patriots for like the last
longest
15. Like,
time.
stop
Yeah.
helping the Patriots. Stop helping the Patriots.
Hey, why'd you give the Patriots Randy Moss? Like, just stop doing that. You know what I mean? Stop helping them. Like, don't do that. Don't give them Orlando Brown. That was the one thing they needed, dude.
Is it fun to be on the other side? Which side do you like being on? The stop helping the Patriots, or where you get to yell, stop helping the Chiefs?
I like being on the side that complains. Like, it's much more fun. It's great. Yeah, I like everybody overreacts on Twitter after these games, and I love it. I love that. I love overreacting myself. I love other people overreacting, and I especially like overreacting to other people overreacting. I'm like, look at
the overreaction.
I'm like, look at what this guy's saying. He's overreacting, and then I go over the top. That's good stuff. That's the best.
Coop, overreact to this game. One good overreaction to the Chiefs Jaguars game. What is it?
Look, the Chiefs are probably going to win this year, but the Jags are probably going to win the next 5 years in a row because they have the star Trevor Lawrence. They have all the pieces in place. Super mega star coach Doug Peterson. All this game really showed us is that the Chiefs window is slamming shut, and it's Trevor Lawrence's time now. It's his world.
I think you're right, Coop. And the Chiefs and Jags have run this division for the last 6 years. The last 6 years of this conference, either the Chiefs or the Jaguars have been in the AFC Championship game. Did you guys see that stat?
Fact.
No.
6 years in a row, it's either been the Chiefs or the Jaguars.
Yeah, exactly. Just like me and Wayne Gretzky combined have like 1,000 goals.
Exactly.
Like, oh yeah, perfect, dude.
Yeah, just forget about the fact that the last 5 were the Chiefs, but combine them, they got 6. So the Jaguars are doing a little lift in there.
Yeah, just a little. Yeah, just
They're
like
helping
me.
out a little bit. Joe, you think Coop's overreaction is accurate?
I think it is perfectly accurate, and I don't think it's an overreaction at all.
Jaguars winning the next 5 Super Bowls.
And that's JL's take. That's JL's take, holding back his Clemson bias. You should hear the Clemson version is even crazy.
Oh man, right before the show, I put my Clemson bias away, tucked that bad boy, shipped him off.
And give him a little kiss, and I'll see you.
It's in the kitchen.
I love
you
you
after the show.
It's right there.
Yeah, it's in the kitchen. We put it in the dishwasher. Make sure it can't get out.
Clean.
I hope I didn't start it on accident. That is not going to be good if we started that, JL.
My dead Clemson bias.
Yeah, your Clemson bias is just going to be dead. Just limp in the washing machine, in the dishwasher.
At least he died clean.
At least he died doing what he loved. Going through a spin cycle.
Getting spun with the dishes.
Getting absolutely blasted by hot steam straight up the butt. His favorite activity.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you. I'll miss you, Clemson bias. I'll miss you so much.
Something tells me you're not getting rid of the Clemson bias that easily.
Yeah.
Remains to be seen.
We'll
We'll have
find
to watch
out.
the sequel.
Oh yeah.
We had another game on Saturday, guys. The Eagles-Giants game. This one not quite as close as our Chiefs-Jags game. The Eagles ended up winning this one 38-7. 38-7, and I'm not sure it was even that close. The Eagles were in full control of this game from the beginning. I was hoping for a close one, a close divisional matchup, but it just didn't pan out. Coop, you surprised by this outcome?
When did the Giants score?
When did the Giants score?
Yeah. When you say it 38-7, not sure if it was even that close. I like legit don't even remember them scoring. Oh, Matt Burita scored a touchdown. Very cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what was
What
it,
a whooping. But I'll tell you, dude, like I said going into this game, I basically said Darius Slay and James Bradbury against Darius Slayton and Isaiah Hodgins. Not loving that, dude. And I was just kind of was like Richie James gonna have to pick up over the middle. Darius Slayton had 1 catch for 4 yards, which was somehow better than what you got from Isaiah Hodgins. He had 1 catch for 3 yards. They combined for 2 catches on 7 targets for 7 yards. 7 yards on 7 targets, those 2 guys. All the outside wide receivers going against Darius Slay and James Bradbury. And of course, because they knew those matchups were terrible, they just peppered Richie James with 10 targets over the middle in the slot, which was predictable for the rest of the defense. So, I mean, that's just how it goes. Daniel Jones, he couldn't pull out the Daniel Jones rushing magic that they would have probably needed to win this game.
They just seemed outmatched. They just seemed totally outmatched. Like it just was a better football team they ran into. And the Eagles were firing all cylinders. Like in order to win that game, they would have needed the Eagles to hand them some opportunities. And the Eagles just didn't really do it. They were on, and the better team won.
Mm-hmm. And they ran for 270 yards,
Absurd.
3 touchdowns. Crazy, man. And what's nuts is that like this Eagles line is very good, but it's not even as good as it once was. Like it's so crazy to think that they had Lane Johnson, they had Jason Kelsey, and they also had Brandon Brooks at one point. Like this team could have been even, you know what I mean? Like their line has been so good for so long, and they're still awesome. You're finally seeing what these guys are capable of.
You don't
They
realize
had Jason Peters too. They had Jason Peters. Like this line was like nuts for years, and they're still awesome. But like it's almost not even the height of their powers.
but it's still doing work for them in the rushing game. They had multiple backs, not just Jalen Hurts killing it. He only had 34 rushing yards, but 90 yards for Miles Sanders, 112 for Kenneth Gainwell. You're right, Coop. That's his line doing what it's got to do out there.
Yeah, crushing. And it's a beautiful thing when you can not, because that's the whole risk with this team. Jalen Hurts getting hurt, and to not have to have him put the team on his back, huge for this team. Huge for this team.
38-7 win where Jalen Hurts has 30 rushing yards. You're pretty happy about going into conference championship weekend.
So
for the Jalen Hurts Brock Purdy rematch of the century.
41 touchdowns against 43 touchdowns.
Wow. The game was played on the moon. Did I forget that detail?
In lava.
The announcers were Tupac
and Zap
and
Brannigan.
Zap
Biggie.
Brannigan.
Oh. Strange combo, but I like it. See how it works out.
Which guy would do the play-by-play and which guy would do the color?
Tupac's doing the play-by-play.
Yeah, he is.
He can keep up. Zap can't keep up fast enough. He's just throwing stuff in there.
Coming up the sideline, Lord, don't push me. Lord, push him out of bounds at the sideline. Coming
really
from
good.
a crown with the fine guys.
Couldn't tell if it was you or Tupac.
West side.
What a Tupac impression. But Ward Chungus in here. What's up, Ward Chungus?
What
Good
up,
morning,
Chungus?
fellas. Bang, bang, Niner gang. How about them Cowboys? Coop.
They ain't got it, dude. Them boys didn't have it. And the Niners, man.
Niner
good.
gang.
Tom Purdy, the our newest late round QB savior. Hard to argue with those narratives.
Tommy Brock Purdy.
Tom Purdy,
Like Tom Brady. I got you.
just like Tom
I thought
Brady.
you just said his name wrong. I thought you just said an entirely wrong name.
Nope, that's the real name. His real name is Tom Brady Purdy.
You guys You guys buying what was thrown down in the chat a little bit earlier from Spooky that Jalen Hurts, this is like even more of a coming out party for him, that this is his year. He's going to win a Super Bowl, maybe get viewed a little bit differently as an NFL quarterback after this season. It's quite the performance from him.
I could see it. The challenger was that he will be a good NFL quarterback.
Well, are we going to see the perception change where maybe he's viewed with like the Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Joe Burrows? Because I still feel like from a public perception standpoint, not fantasy's got the rushing upside that puts him up there with those guys. But NFL perception, will he be viewed as one of the stars of the league? Because I feel like right now people don't put him in that category with Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think so. I think he will be put into that category, or I think some people will. I don't think that he necessarily belongs there just after one Super Bowl run. I mean, we've seen Nick Foles win a Super Bowl, and his name wasn't up there with those guys, you know?
Yeah, but there's a little bit more evidence for Jalen Hurts, right? The Super Bowl would be like the cherry on top, not the whole kit and caboodle.
I could see it happening. I still don't think he's like passing enough to probably be in that conversation year in, year out.
That's fair.
I think I want him to win to kind of shake this narrative that like mobile QBs don't win. I mean, like outside of Russell Wilson, can you name a mobile quarterback that's won a Super Bowl?
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson has not won a Super Bowl.
He's not won a Super. Okay, I didn't hear the second part of it.
Yeah, mobile quarterbacks that have won a Super Bowl. Like in my mind, it's like there's two. There's Lamar, there's Russell Wilson, and there's Steve Young, basically. Like those are the two mobile quarterbacks. These are the Super Bowl winning quarterbacks going back through history. Matt Stafford, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Nick Foles, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, Joe Flacco, Eli Manning, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, Brad Johnson, Tom Brady, Trent Dilfer, Kurt Warner, like mobile quarterbacks that just they're not winning. Then there's been a ton of them. Like we talk about how good Michael Vick was and how good Cam Newton was.
How good Fran Tarkenton was.
Fran Tarkenton, dude. Did Fran Tarkenton win a Super Bowl?
No, he played in 3 with the Vikings, but lost all 3 of them.
Well, it's the curse of the mobile QB. So I would love to see that kind of broken. I would love to see him come through and just be dominant and see what it looks like, because everyone knows the upside. Everyone knows he can take over a game. They worry about the injuries and they worry about whether defenses can, if it's too one-dimensional, to rely on that. I mean, you even heard, did you guys see the Jamar Chase quote on Josh Allen after the game?
I did.
Like, I don't have the exact, do you have the exact quote? It was pretty damning on his style of play. He was basically like, Joe Burrow is the
I got it right here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said Burrow is a true quarterback. Look, Josh Allen's a great QB too, but Joe can do it all. Josh Allen's game revolves around just being a dual threat running QB. That's not bad, but Joe's more of a Peyton Manning, Tom Brady type of QB. He started with Burrow as a true quarterback, implying that these dual threat guys aren't true quarterbacks like Josh Allen.
And the funny thing about that is, you said it, that in fantasy, yeah, it's great and all, but in real life, when you talk about the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings, a dude named Brady or Manning won half these Super Bowls the last like 20 years.
Yeah, between Brady, Manning, and Nick Foles, they've won like 15 Super Bowls.
I mean, yeah, me, Brady, and Nick Foles.
We just start coming up with the stupidest stats where we just throw like a third person into all of them over
Brady,
and over again.
Just keep throwing the Jaguars in there. Brady, Foles, and the Jaguars. 15. Yeah. So I don't know, man. It's I want to see it. Yeah, there you go. You got to go all the way back to Doug Williams and Ken Stabler to find some quarterbacks that were considered mobile quarterbacks.
Ken Stabler. NKC in here. What's up, NKC? Good morning. Said Eagles destroyed and high. Well, hi, welcome in. And the Eagles absolutely did destroy.
Yeah, they did.
It wasn't even freaking close.
They crushed.
On the Giants side here, they did only score 7 points. It was a pretty abysmal game from Daniel Jones. And not much to talk about offensively for anybody on the Giants here. But what a season to even make it to the divisional round, to make the playoffs, win a game. You're in the divisional round. Coop, do you think the future is bright for this New York Giants team like we were talking about the Jaguars? Or do you think this was more of a what a run, but I'm not sure about the future of this team?
Which team?
The Giants.
I think the Giants have a lot of work to do. And this game kind of calls into question a lot of the things that people were talking about, because if you really look at the timeline, and this happens with a ton of teams, it's you have the first year, which is you come in, you take over the team, you have a very short offseason of, you basically have you have a lot of somebody clicking a pen. You have a lot of contracts that come in, and you have to take the contracts that are in place, right? You can't release certain guys. So it takes some time to turn that over. That's not your team yet. And they immediately didn't pick up the 5th-year option for Daniel Jones, which basically kind of said to us, hey, we know we have this guy for one more year, but we don't want him the year after, right? And then the narrative just recently came around to maybe they do want to keep that guy. But we haven't even seen them build the team they want to build. They went out and took a bunch of best players available in the draft. Now they have an offseason where they can say, we got the best players available. We know we had this year to try everyone out from this old team to see who's making the team moving forward. And now we're going to see them making major moves to get their pieces, to find their guys. So I think it's only beginning for this team. The fact that they made the playoffs at all is surprising, and it's a plus for the coaching. But I think a lot of guys from this team are going to be gone. Isaiah Hodgins, not going to be the guy, dude. Darius Slayton, maybe. I don't know. But like they haven't even begun to really get the pass catchers that they're going to have. Even if Wan'Dale Robinson's one of them, they need more guys. So I think this is only the very beginning.
I'm with you. I am a little bit. I think they may have overperformed to a point where next year, even if they don't make it to the divisional round of the playoffs, it's still an improvement, right? Like that's what I'm worried about, is that people are going to look at this team and next year, maybe they lose in the wild card round and it's viewed as a step back. They can take major steps forward and still not reach this point next year, because I think they really overperformed this season. Coaching got them there. It was a massive overperformance. And next year, I think they could miss the playoffs and take steps forward next year as a team. Like, I think that's how much this team overperformed, is they could miss the playoffs and still I could think they're in a better spot than they were at the end of this season. Because this roster is not a Super Bowl winning roster. They're not anywhere near it yet.
Nah. It's a great step. This is a great first step towards rebuild this season, what we've seen here. I'm very confident in Dable this year. He's raised my confidence in what he can do with this team. I'm interested to see what he can do with another offseason. I think that this team is close to being much better than it has been in a long time.
Not yet. You're not better than you have been, but you're close.
Very close.
Yeah, but Giants should have done better.
Dustin says, don't you disrespect Isaiah Hodgins. Dude, Isaiah Hodgins, if you have that guy in Dynasty, congratulations. Like, you hit the lottery. If you could trade him for anything right now, then that's jackpot, right? Those guys are never worth anything. 6th-round picks that get dropped by the team that picked them, zero value. So if you can trade him for a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick or anything, you crushed. Same thing with like a guy like Preston Williams, undrafted free agent. You can turn around and trade Preston Williams for a 3rd-round pick, or some people were trading him for a 2nd-round pick. Wow, jackpot! Like, you don't be disappointed that I'm saying Isaiah Hodgins probably isn't going to do anything. You should be happy that he had any value at all.
Don't be sad it's over.
Right.
Be happy it happened.
Be happy it even happened.
It
was like in 98, I would say like 98% of the cases, maybe it probably is 99%, that if a player drafts a wide receiver in the 6th round and then cuts him after 1 year, that player is not going to be fantasy relevant. Like, that's just.
Are there still people holding on to Preston Williams? Like, are there still people that are in, because people were
There's got to be
on Preston Williams? Not kind of like there were. Oh, Preston Williams is going to be a top dynasty wide receiver levels of love for that guy.
What a huge mistake. Oh my goodness. I'll tell you, you go back and check my receipts. I was warning everybody. I was like, I've seen this show a million times. Tanking team is literally losing on purpose and some undrafted free agent catches a handful of passes, that's the exact guy you need to trade immediately, right?
Yeah.
Like, immediately. So, yeah, he's on the Panthers now. Preston Williams is. I think he played 2 snaps for him in the last game.
Oh,
so maybe
heck yeah.
He's back, maybe. But yeah,
First you get the snaps, but he's not even at the targets yet. He's far away from the khakis, and the girls is just a distant dream at this point.
Those 2 snaps, baby, that leaves the door open. They're like, Preston Williams, don't leave the door open for me, baby.
Guys, coming up, we are going to give out some superlatives and talk some more about the games that happened this weekend. And then we're playing some master debaters at the end of the show today. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Corey, Nando, and friends, presented by Mayo Media on Better Sports Network.
I'm convinced that Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Babe Ruth is not real. No, it's not. Babe Ruth is not real. We've been hoodwinked. We've been bamboozled. We've been led astray. We've been run amok.
Keep going.
Babe Ruth, I don't know the rest. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. I'm dead serious. Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Y'all are never going to get me to believe that Babe Ruth is real. Babe Ruth is like a baseball Santa Claus. I'm not buying it. After I saw those highlights last night of Babe Ruth, I'm like, there's no way you can tell me that Babe Ruth is a real person. Who do you know? There is nobody under the sound of my voice that has ever seen Babe Ruth play. I asked my pop, you ever seen Babe Ruth play? He's like, no. Nobody's ever seen Babe Ruth play.
I mean, come on.
I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character. Even Babe Ruth's baseball cards, it looked like it's drawn. Like, Babe Ruth is not real. Y'all trying to pull a fast one. Listen, I don't know who made this up. Maybe it was Phil Rizzuto. Maybe it's the Lenny Melnick. But Babe Ruth is not a real person. There's no way. Everything about Babe Ruth is sketchy. If you didn't go to the games, how do you know that it really happened? Or I listened on the radio. You listen to Ovaltine on the radio. That old school radio was all fiction. Everything on old school radio was fake. But you think Babe Ruth is real?
Look, he lived until 1948. So if you find someone who's like 85 years old, they might have remembered him when he was little, when they were a little teenager.
Babe Ruth was made up by baseball purists. I am certain.
You do that thing where you pause the Babe Ruth video and you zoom in and you zoom in and you zoom in. You see like some artist autograph like right here.
Yeah, you
some digital art right here. Yeah.
Somebody needs to investigate this and see if Babe Ruth is a real person. I'm pretty sure Babe Ruth is a fictional character created to make people think that like there was this great jolly old baseball player that drank beers and ate hot dogs and hit 60 home runs. Like the home run record before Babe Ruth was like 14. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and
but
now
he figured it out. Like who figured out the dunk, right? Like he's just like, oh,
that's like Dr. J or something, right? Then Dr. J, probably was before Dr. J, but Dr. J made the dunk famous. Babe Ruth made the home run famous, or maybe that was a way to get people to like, we're gonna make baseball America's pastime. But in order to do so, we need somebody who we can make the face of the sport. And they didn't have no face of the sport. So they're like, okay, let's make him a fictional guy that played for the Red Sox and was traded to the Yankees for like tickets to tickets to cats. You know what I'm saying? Like the Red Sox get a Yankees.
You tried to say Les
Miserables. Is there any footage of Babe Ruth in the Red Sox uniform? None. I'm telling you, Babe Ruth is a fictional character.
Oi, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. Coop is just so surprised. What are you so surprised about, Coop?
Just surprised you guys came back after the break. I get worried every time that you might not be back. But, it's like a dog. When you guys come back, I'm like, you're back.
Yes. Thought you were gone.
I thought for sure you were gone forever this time. I just knew it.
I chewed up all your stuff while you were gone.
But in my defense, that was back when I thought you weren't coming back.
I didn't think you'd come back, so I chewed up all your stuff.
Honestly, it's amazing I didn't chew up your Legos while you were home. So when I thought you were gone, just fair game. It looks so
not
tasty.
even.
Speaking of that, yesterday my dog was very good. We had people over kind of working on the house. Very good dog. So I gave her like this little like not a real bone, but like a cheesy bone, but like a big bone like this, right? And the dog's eating on the couch. I was like, watching the games. I look over and there's like this much of it left, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Dog liked that. So then the dog goes upstairs, and then my wife was watching something else, like on her iPad or whatever, and she's like, did you give the dog another bone? And I was like, no, I did not. And she's like, well, she's got a full one right now. Like, a full one. What? She's like, that's weird because like I heard her under the bed eating a bone, the first one we gave her. And I was like, she ate the first one on the bed? No, she ate the first one on the couch. Dude, I go over to the bag where these bones are and did a little head count because we just opened them. Sure enough, the bone that she was eating downstairs was the second bone, and the bone she was eating upstairs on top of the bed, she brought this one on top of the bed. At this point, she's like, I can just eat these. Clearly, by the time you get to the third one, you're like, these are fair game. So she's eating the third. The one she was eating on top of the bed was the third one. The first one she ate like immediately under the bed. So she managed to get into the bag of bones. So she went from being the best dog ever to being the worst dog ever. To being the worst one.
She thought it was a self-serve snack cabinet. Oh, we can have these whenever we want.
Oh, yeah. After the second one, she clearly was like, yeah, well, I got away with 2 now, so I can eat these out in the open now.
Like, ooh,
Nobody
that
was saying
was good.
She is smart though. She ate the first one upstairs, and then when she got the second one, she came down the couch and she's like, I'll eat this one while Daddy's watching sports. He won't even know. Yeah, little rascal. She's having a good snooze right now. That little brat.
Like a brat.
Is she a brat?
Nah. Well, yeah, but all dogs are to a certain degree.
Just a little bit. JL got to hang out with my pup this weekend, and
Sancho!
his fiance Maria got to meet Sancho and Max as well. And Sancho has a walk between the legs habit. Yeah. It's his move, not just a little bit, but where if your legs aren't open enough, he'll like shove his nose in and force his way between your legs. And I get so used to it that like it doesn't even faze me. Like it's part of walking around my house. There's a dog between my legs. But then people come to visit, and I'm reminded of how funny it actually is. Like whenever I'm just watching him do it to other people, like Jail's just trying to walk through my house, and all of a sudden I see my dog just shove his head between his legs.
Just walking around his house like this.
Because he'll walk with you. He doesn't just poke his head through. Then he's like, where are we going? This is comfy, right? This makes it easy to walk.
Seems like a safe space.
Right here. It's if I trust you, we're gonna walk together. I like that. It is time to get into some superlatives. This is where we are gonna award people, players, things, coaches, managers, owners, referees with different awards around the league. Think best hair, most attractive, most likely to succeed. We have a whole bunch of them. We're gonna each award it to one player. We'll throw some polls in the chat over on our YouTube channel at Front Yard Fantasy to vote along who you think should win based on the 3 nominations. John Luke, we got some superlatives ready.
We do. All right, let's get right into them. Guys, I need a player who you find most inspiring.
Can I make a rule for this entire thing here? It might not be.
It depends on what the rule is.
So the rule I was going to make is that you're not allowed to pick Jamal Williams. Because last time we played, every single one that came up, I was like, Jamal Williams. Yeah, unless he's perfect for it. But let's try not to pick him. But
you get one Jamal Williams. Use it wisely.
So okay, you get one Jamal Williams. In that same vein, I'm gonna do a cop out here, and I'm taking Dan Campbell. Just and you got to watch Hard Knocks because he's got so many great speeches on there. Like this guy telling you we're going to bite kneecaps, right? But the best speech he had that had me amped up was he was on Hard Knocks, and he was basically like, look, he goes, we're not the best team. I'll tell you guys that right now. You know what that means? We need to work harder, right? He goes, there's a lot of teams out there that, are wading in the shallow end. Things are easy for them. You know what I mean? Those are the teams that we need to beat. Those are the playoff teams. They're in the shallow end. There's a lot of teams in the deep water like us. He goes, so what we need to do, we need to get a hold of these teams in the shallow end and we need to pull them out to the deep water. And that's where we beat them. That's where we beat them, by having more stamina, by being ready to go in the fourth quarter, right? That's how we beat these teams. We bring them out to our water, and we just churn water longer than they can. And I was like, damn, dude, I'm amped, bro. Like I was ready to bite kneecaps. Just listen to this guy being like, that's how we're gonna beat them. We're gonna drown them, dude. But really though, it's like
all right.
It's like it's so scrappy. It's such a scrappy description. He's like, we can't beat him in the shallow water, so we bring him to the deep water, and we just churn water longer than they can, right? And then you watch in Hard Knocks, and he's got like padded practices every day, running sprints. Like that team is built too. You can't be in a tie with that team going in the fourth quarter because they worked harder than you. And I love that. So Dan Campbell's the guy that inspires me. I'm getting all fired up right now, baby.
You got me fired up listening to you give the speech that Dan Campbell spoke.
Listen to me butcher the speech that Dan Campbell gave.
Exactly. Like it was that inspirational that I was still like, oh man, Coop's butchering this, but I'm in.
Yeah. It's so good. You could just tell a sloppy version of it, and it's still pretty decent.
Still inspiring.
I'm fine with Dan Campbell's sloppy seconds. Yeah. It's all right. It still inspires me.
Absolutely, dude. Who do you guys got?
All right, Simon, who are you going with?
You can't pick
me.
Slightly different route. You can't pick me doing a sloppy version of Dan Campbell.
Here's the thing. I don't think I can outdo from the like inspiring others through like speech and actions route. So I'm going to go with a guy that like his story this season was pretty inspirational. And that's Washington Commanders running back Brian Robinson. Brian Robinson getting shot at the beginning of the season and then not only coming back and playing, but looking great out there on the field, right? Carving himself out a role in this Washington Commanders offense. There were worries that he wouldn't play again this season, and he recovered faster than expected from being shot by a gun in the leg. He's a running back. He got shot in the leg. Like that's the most important part of his position.
Yeah, those important.
They're pretty important for a running back, and he came out there and played. So I'm rolling with Brian Robinson here. I just don't think I was going to beat you, Coop, on the like giving a speech, inspiring someone through words side of it. So I had to go the other way, and it was truly inspirational this season watching Brian Robinson come back from that.
I think you might have got.
I like that.
I think you might have got me with that route. That's a good one. That's a good choice. I like that.
I'm going to go with a player who I think is going to win this handily.
Jamal Williams.
Jamal.
Damn it. Good. It would be such a good use of your one Jamal Williams. So
it would be.
Because he does get me fired up, dude. He does.
I'm gonna go with Larry Fitzgerald.
I
I feel like Larry Fitzgerald is I was going between Ray Lewis and Larry Fitzgerald. Because regardless of what you think about Ray Lewis, the man knows how to inspire. The man knows how to motivate. And few give as good of a pre-game speech as Ray Lewis. He is the king of that. But the difference for me is how much Larry Fitzgerald has done in his career. The difference is how much good Larry Fitzgerald has done. I gotta go Larry Fitzgerald here. Super inspiring.
One of the greatest.
He always calls his mom.
That's what I was going to say. He's humble. He seems just very real. That's inspirational to watch someone hit that level of success, to be one of the greatest of all time and have that humility and that mindset of helping others, putting other people first. Oh, Jail. You might have gotten this one. It's going to be close.
Well, they always say in sports, they always say like, oh, like if you could build a guy in a lab, right, it would be this guy. Like Larry Fitzgerald practically was built in a football lab. Like people might not realize, but his father was a beat writer for the Vikings, and he was a ball boy for the Vikings from a young age, and he would just hang out at practice. Like this guy was at NFL practices when he was like 9. You know what I mean? Like this dude has been catching passes from NFL quarterbacks since he was a child, right? Like he's been around the organization. He was hanging around with freaking Chris Carter. Chris Carter, the guy who almost flamed out of the league on partying and drugs in Philadelphia, got traded to the Vikings, got sober, and played for 1 million years. Like, what a better person for Larry Fitzgerald to learn from. And then Larry Fitzgerald himself plays for 1 million years. Like, that's how it happens. That's how it works. So, yeah, if you're trying to get inspired by a guy, if you're trying to copy a guy, why don't you copy Chris Carter, Larry Fitzgerald, that mold of player, right? So that's why you should vote for my pick, Dan Campbell.
And that's why you should vote for Brian Robinson as well.
Are we putting these up in the on the YouTube chat today, or are we just kind of
we got
They're
them.
in the YouTube chat. They're up there. So
Okay.
you can vote now. Tell us who you think should win most inspiring.
Bite
Most
those-
inspiring in
like
the
those
chat.
kneecaps, baby.
Dan
Like
Campbell,
those-
Brian Robinson, or Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh, Larry Fitzgerald. All right,
Damn.
next one. Next
Damn.
superlatives. While the chat is voting on that one, we are going to go into our next nomination round. Most likely to drive a PT Cruiser.
Ooh, most likely to drive a PT Cruiser. Man, this is tough
Likely to
because,
drive a
like,
PT Cruiser.
I'll go.
you got to be a loser, but there has to be a certain air of either being completely unaware that you're a loser or embracing that you're a loser. Like, these aren't the losers who think they're cool. Know what I mean? Like, this isn't Mason Rudolph. He's a loser, but he thinks he's cool. He drives like a truck that lets everyone know how big his penis is. He's not confident enough to drive a PT Cruiser.
I got it. I got mine.
You got it?
Yeah. You guys want to go first? Or should we do some sort of order, or just go whenever we feel like going?
If you got it, get it out there.
Go for it.
It's obviously Al Davis, dude, that's driving a PT Cruiser. 100%. This guy he has no idea what his hair looks like. He has no idea that you're not supposed to wear.
Mark Davis?
Sorry, Mark Davis, not Al Davis. Al Davis is the man. Mark Davis is who I want. Yeah, Mark Davis with the haircut, and Mark Davis with the Tommy says Al Davis not alive. That would be crazy. Yeah, not Al Davis. Al Davis is the man. Very litigious against the league, but pretty good guy. I actually saw a little side fact that for the NFL Hall of Fame inductees, no coach has been chosen. No person has been chosen to give the inductee speeches more than Al Davis. He did a ton of them because the players loved him. But yeah, Mark Davis, this guy, he doesn't know that you shouldn't have a haircut like that. He doesn't know that you shouldn't eat every meal at PF Chang's. He doesn't know that he's a billionaire. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't know that when you look like that, you shouldn't wear white pants. But he doesn't care. Dude. He doesn't care. He likes what he likes, and I would not at all be surprised to see that dude loving a PT Cruiser and making sure that they fit it with like a cassette deck tape so he can play his cassettes in there. Like Al, when you're Al Davis's son, you just do whatever you want. Mark Davis definitely does whatever he wants, and I could see a PT Cruiser fitting right in that.
The only problem with that one is I'm pretty sure he's like infamously known to drive a minivan.
Yeah, he has
right, like he gets transported to his haircuts in a minivan or something along those lines. But maybe he upgrades. Like, he's like, I need something cooler.
He's always wanted. He's always wanted the PT Cruiser. Like when you drive a minivan, when you're a minivan guy, diehard, a PT Cruiser is like your version of a sports car.
That's a Lambo right there.
Yeah.
That's it.
Got the room and the speed.
He's like, when I retire, that's when I get that's when I get the Cruiser, baby.
All right, you're going Mark Davis. I'm going to go next here. I'm going to go with Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is, if you recall earlier in the season, reports came out, Tyreek Hill, every time he drives to the stadium, drives in his minivan so that nobody will see him or recognize him driving.
Tyreek Hill also has a minivan?
Yeah, he rides a minivan to the games.
I did not
drives in a
know
minivan
that.
so that nobody knows that he's riding up. PT Cruiser for Tyreek Hill would be hilarious. And he is the exact type of player, like you said, Simon, who's got the confidence to do it. And who also, I feel like, would just enjoy just redlining the hell out of a PT Cruiser.
Just over and over and over again.
That's awesome. I did not know he drove that. That's fun. Some players are private like that. Randy Moss used to pay extra to live in some like 55 plus retirement community just so people wouldn't bother him and he could just go fishing.
A minivan is an underrated vehicle. Let's just be real. You can fit so much in there, and it's comfortable. You're high up on the road, a little bit over everybody. Like, I love driving a minivan. It's a good car.
When you get all the boys up in there, that's
what I'm saying. Everyone laughs at the minivan, so all of a sudden we need a car that can fit 6 people and all of our bags for a weekend trip. Oh, look. Simon's minivan is needed yet again.
Yeah, the old limo van.
It's pretty hot. And then if you take the seats out, I fit like a whole like queen bed sleeper sofa and a recliner in the back of that thing.
When I was a freshman in high school, my sister's friend had a minivan that he took electrical tape and put racing stripes on.
Oh, hell yeah.
He was owning it, dude. This thing was awesome.
My parents forbid me from putting neon underglow lights on my minivan, which, looking back, they were right. But I was pretty bothered by it. I was like, it's my money. Why can't I put it on the car? But they were 100% right not to allow me to get pink neon underglow lights on my minivan. Yeah,
hard to say. Those are illegal in my state.
I'm pretty sure they're illegal in my state as well, which is why they told me no. Don't need to draw attention to myself.
That makes a little more sense.
We had some suggestions in the chat for this one, for this superlative, which was most likely to drive a PT Cruiser. Kirk Cousins from Warchungus and Victor said it was Cole Beasley down there as options.
Cole Beasles.
I can see the Bees. He's a family man. Is that even a good car for families, though? It doesn't even seem like it's that spacious.
I don't think so.
It seems like a tight end car. I don't know why. Just the goofiness level of that vehicle seems like the door is going to open up and TJ Hawkinson's going to step out with that hair. I don't know why. The dude just gives me PT Cruiser vibes. Like, he doesn't care what people think about it, and he likes the shape of that car. He thinks it's fun. He's going to be rolling down the window, blasting Iron Maiden in his PT Cruiser, just whipping his hair around. That's who's riding the PT Cruiser, is TJ Hawkinson. Tell me it doesn't scream tight end. If we put cars as positions, the PT Cruiser would be our tight end. I'm positive of it. They'd be the pass catching tight end. If we needed a blocking tight end, maybe we go with like the Ford Flex or something. But pass catching tight end, it is a PT Cruiser.
I could see it. I like the TJ Hawkinson pick.
So we got
long hair,
right? It fits.
I remember. Well, actually, you go, JL. You do yours. I'll tell it after.
I got mine. So we got Mark Davis, we got Tyreek Hill, and we got TJ Hawkinson. Chat. The poll is up in the chat.
Oh, yours is TJ Hawkinson. All right, yeah, I like that. I was just gonna say. I remember when the Saints backfield at one point. What me and my buddies would call Pierre Thomas was PT Cruiser and Darren Sproles was Sproles Royce.
Sproles Royce
and PT Cruiser.
One of those guys got the bad end of the deal.
They
having to be a Rolls Royce while someone else is compared to a PT Cruiser.
I know, what a loser, dude.
Brutal.
PT Cruiser kind of looks like you put a Rolls Royce in the microwave.
It's the Wish version of a Rolls Royce. Yeah, Rolls Royce Phantom. It does look like it just got like melted in the oven.
Yeah,
like you accidentally left it in the sun too long and it melted a little bit. And now you've got a PT Cruiser.
You took your hands and tried to put it back together. Like you tried to squish it back together, and it's like, is that what it looked like before?
Yeah, good enough.
Sure.
Jedi in here. Good morning, Jedi. I had a question for us. Said, hey guys, I know I've been talking a lot about keepers. That's because it's keeper time of year. Wants to know, he said, with how Kadarius Toney has been playing, I feel like he's going to be a monster next season. What do y'all think? JL, do you think Kadarius Toney is going to be a monster next season and maybe in contention as a keeper?
I wouldn't keep Kadarius Toney. I don't think that his draft cost is going to be high enough next season to justify the value you're going to get. Or really, I think that will obliterate any value you might be able to get from Kadarius Toney. You'd probably be able to draft him at a cheap price. He could be a monster next year. He could also not be as much of a factor. That we talked about it a little earlier in the show, but that wide receiver situation might get shifted a bunch this offseason. We got to wait and see.
Yeah, the problem you're going to get with that, with buying him in Dynasty, is that the guy you're buying him from, liked Kadarius Toney. He was a first-round pick. So the guy that you're buying him from didn't just draft Kadarius Toney to be like, oh, I'll just take this guy. Like, he was a first-round NFL pick, and the guy that took him in your Dynasty draft probably liked him. And he probably likes him a lot more now that he's on the Chiefs. So it's not like you can just get some discount for him. Like, you got to go to the Kadarius Toney guy in your league and say, hey, now that this guy's on the Chiefs and he looks really good, why don't you trade him to me? It's a difficult maneuver. But I like what JL said, that in redraft, that's probably where you make the stab, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Take your shot in redraft. I mean,
where it's cheaper.
That's what people were doing this year with the Chiefs, right? You take your shot on one of the Chiefs wide receivers. Is it Marquez Valdes-Scantling? Is it Sky Moore? Is it Juju Smith-Schuster? It was Juju most of the year, but people were drafting all three of those guys. Now Kadarius Toney will be in the mix next year.
Juju's about to get paid this offseason. Like, I was looking at it, I was like, why would he sign a contract like 1 year less than $4 million? But then I look at all the free agents this year, and when I say all
Tim and Lazard, and that's it.
Lazard, well, I think there's a wide receiver out there that might be better than all those guys that could
Huh?
potentially be available. Yeah. I think maybe the guy that I think will get paid the most, in my opinion, is DJ Chark. I think his size makes him valuable because he can play split end, So I think DJ Chark might be the top free agent wide receiver, in my opinion.
You think he's going to leave Detroit? Dan Campbell didn't inspire him enough.
Well, I don't know if they can. I don't know because
money's pretty inspiring too. Maybe our most inspiring, it should have been a big old paycheck.
Exactly. I think that's what it boils down
$50
to.
million a year is pretty inspiring.
Right. I think he knows that there's nobody. He knows that Amazon TV deal money's hitting, and he knows that there's not a lot of other options out there. So could be Chark season.
There we go. Well, we got that second one in the chat. Our first one, Dan Campbell won the vote, got half the votes in there over Brian Robinson and Larry Fitzgerald. Right now, TJ Hawkinson is winning our poll over Mark Davis and Tyreek Hill. But we'll let that one run while we do one more. We got time for one more superlative, John Luke?
We got time for some more. We got most likely to avenge their playoff loss next season. Most likely to avenge their playoff loss next season.
Is this on the field or just in general?
I don't.
Like, are they going to avenge it through the game of football? Or is this like, are they like going on a mission? Like they're going to avenge, not necessarily, I wasn't going murder.
A murder most foul.
But like a big prank or something.
Yeah, I could see.
It could be both. I'll leave it up to you.
Okay.
Have some creative expression here. I'm going to go with the easy one here. I'm going to go with Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
Guy most upset about his playoff loss this week. He's a competitor. This is the time. If he's going to do it, got to do it now.
Come back and get rowdy, huh? What do you think, Simon?
I think Stephon Diggs could do that. I mean, he was off. He was ready to go. He was ready to get out of there. And if he is going to avenge this loss, it could be either way. We might get some like real cryptic tweets like look behind you before you sleep. A bill is just something that your mind thinks of. A bill or a dollar, you tell me.
A penny earned is a penny lost.
Those would be. I could see Diggs tweeting every one of those things.
You may have won the battle, but I'm here. And then he avenges his loss next year. I like that one, JL. Yeah. And Tommy said a bill needs to be paid.
Terrible. But I love it.
But exactly what might be tweeted, right?
Exactly what
that took me a second right there to get that one.
Yeah. Did?
It did. Well, because I was thinking of a different kind of bill. I was thinking like a dollar bill, not like a bill that comes out to you that you got to pay for.
I see.
I was like, how are you going to pay $1? What do you pay money with? You pay money with money?
Yeah.
Coop, you got one?
I'll go with mine. And when I think about this question, I think like who's likely to come back firing on all cylinders and actually and take it seriously and win. And I think this Chargers team, they have enough pieces. They have Bosa, they have Mac. Justin Herbert is the guy that I think has the talent, has the ability, and with the right coaching, he can come back and potentially win the Super Bowl. I'm calling it. I think they're always a popular dark horse pick. I think the Chargers are finally going to figure it out next year coming in. So I'm taking Justin Herbert as the guy to get his vengeance.
All right, Herbert. What about you, Simon?
There's a couple different directions I want to go here. There's multiple players I'm considering, but I think where I'm going to roll is a defensive player.
Jalen Reagor.
Now I'm going with a defensive player who didn't get to play in this playoffs, but is disruptive on the field. Won a Super Bowl last year, wants to get one more. I think Von Miller is the most likely to avenge this Super Bowl loss. He will be able to come in and make a difference defensively next year, as long as he plays next season, which he should. But I imagine he's back on the Bills, wants a Super Bowl with that team, and can get one next season.
All right, so we got, let's see, we got Stephon Diggs, Justin Herbert, and Von Miller as nominations for most likely to avenge their playoff loss next year. Well done, guys.
Better Boss said Brett Maher going to come in, avenge.
Comes back, kick 50 field goals.
I'm not sure he's going to be on the Cowboys next year. They seem pretty upset with him. They should leave him on the Cowboys, but they seem a little upset.
Was it his fault yesterday, Coop? In your opinion?
Nah, not that they lost. That's for sure.
All right. I'm going to throw this poll in the chat. Our next superlative for us is most likely to go viral after winning a Super Bowl.
Ooh. Oh, we've gotten some good ones of those. Matthew Stafford turning around while the girl fell off the bus was the moment last year.
Drunk
yeah.
man. Way too drunk Tom Brady.
God. Yeah. Like,
yes.
we get some good ones. We get some good ones every single year.
I already forgot about drunk Brady.
You can't forget about drunk Brady.
Yeah. That was Miami Brady. That wasn't you're not allowed to drink up here. Not after Super Bowl. Not until the next one. Not until the next one.
Not until the next.
Because once you win the Super Bowl, the next season has already started, and then you have to take it seriously.
Of course. Most likely to go viral after winning a Super Bowl. I feel like there's a chalk answer here that I don't want to go with, but I think I'm going to do it anyways. Joe Burrow is a viral moment waiting to happen after he wins a championship, okay? The dude, after he won the national title, sitting there in the locker room, you just know Joe Burrow with the big old cigar after winning a Super Bowl is going to be viral the moment the bowl ends, right? He's going to be off the field for 10 seconds before he has a cigar in his mouth. It's going to be Joe Burrow.
He's going to play like the last quarter with the cigar in his mouth.
With the stogie sticking out of his mouth.
Is that against the rules?
No, I'm pretty sure that's fine. You're allowed to do that.
Okay.
As long as it goes through the face mask.
Okay.
I gotta go with the guy that I think is the silliest. The guy that I think would have plans well in advance of how he's going to do something crazy, and that'd be George Kittle. Like, this is the guy that came out, founded Tight End University, which is in itself a completely ridiculous notion. And the fact that it turned into a real thing where all these tight ends meet up in the offseason and give a wrestling belt to somebody, probably whoever drinks the most beers. I don't even know how they decide that. But like, George Kittle is a nonsense machine. So I could absolutely picture him going viral within 10 minutes of the game being.
Kittle is a good pick. He was on my list here. Now I got a list of two names exactly. And I actually just added a third one. I think I'm going to go with that one. I'm going to go with Patrick Mahomes' wife and brother.
Yeah.
Brittany and Jackson.
You could pick Patrick Mahomes. You could pick Patrick Mahomes as the player and say that he goes viral at no fault of his own.
At no fault of his own. Yeah. I think
Brittany and Jackson are going to do it.
I think if they win the Super Bowl, they're most likely to go viral because anything they do, I think, is going to go viral. People on the internet are either going to hate it or they're probably going to hate it. I think most people hated it. I don't know. Tone
deaf, man. The two of them. Did you ever see the clip of Brittany Mahomes with the champagne?
Yeah, pouring it all over people.
She's just like, they won the game and she's pouring it all over people. People underneath are like, what the hell? I got to drive home, dude. What if I get pulled over?
I'm so sticky.
Yeah.
Sticky for everyone.
I was going to say my honorable mention here is going to go to Brock Purdy, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem with that is his balls are so big, the photo might be taken out by the not safe for work filters everywhere.
True.
Especially after he wins a Super Bowl. They're just going to be like, they're going to be hanging. So it could prevent it from going viral, right?
It could. It absolutely could.
I like your answer, Jackson and Brittany Mahomes. They, I feel like they've been pretty well behaved this year on social media. Like, I feel like there haven't been as many stories this year as there were last season.
Yeah, I think that's
well behaved is probably the wrong word. Maybe just Patrick talked to them and said, "Hey guys, stop it! You're embarrassing me."
In the chat, the one for who should win most likely to drive a PT Cruiser, TJ Hawkinson won with 50% of the vote, followed by Tyreek Hill 33% and Mark Davis 16%. And then most likely to avenge their playoff loss next year, Stephon Diggs won with 100% of the vote.
Checks out.
That recency.
That dude is vengeful. You can see it.
So we got George, and then who should win most likely to go viral after winning the Super Bowl? We got George Kittle, we got Joe Burrow, and we got Jackson and Brittany Mahomes. I guess it just has to be one, right?
Yep. No, it can be both. You can have that duo
Okay.
because they work together.
One thing I don't understand about TJ Hawkinson is how does his hair grow so quickly? Like within the last 2 years, I feel like within the last 2 years, he had his hair cut to like a tight fade, and then it's already like down to his shoulders. How long does it take, Simon? How long does it take you to grow your hair to that length?
I had my hair cut to a tight fade 2 years ago. I started growing it out right at the beginning of the pandemic, and I was a haircut every couple weeks kind of guy.
Okay, so I guess the timing checks out because as a rookie, he did have hair that was pretty short.
2 years. 2 years checks out about time. I think his grows a little faster than mine and a little bit more gloriously. And he's a little bit more handsome and athletic and smart.
I wouldn't sell yourself short.
And Jay said he eats a lot of corn.
That'll do it. Give you that husk. Victor in here said most likely to go viral after winning a Super Bowl. George Kittle. Right there with you, Coop. Right there with you.
Smart.
And Dustin's saying, how does Joe Burrow not have a cigar sponsorship? That's a good question. Maybe he does.
Ooh.
Maybe it's all a facade and it's actually an act and he hates cigars. He thinks they're icky and make his mouth taste bad. But he just does it for the image. Warchunk is in here, said Brock going to get a Gerber sponsorship. Babyface. How funny would it be if they put his face on Gerber baby food instead of the Gerber baby? You were just walking down the baby food aisle and there's Brock Purdy's goofy face just sitting on a can of like smushed peas and sweet potatoes.
It's all It's all I would buy.
It's the only meals I eat.
I mean, at this point, yeah, for myself.
And Tommy said these guys have so much testosterone they shave 3 times a day. Yeah, some high T guys, especially that tight end position. That's a high T position.
Gotta be.
How do you guys feel about cigars?
The idea of it always draws me in. The idea of smoking a cigar with your buddies, with your uncle, with your friends. It's at the end of a wedding. That's when they always get you.
That's
at
when
the
they get
end
you,
of
dude.
a wedding, and someone's handing out, hey, like, I know we're getting tired. You want to step outside and smoke a cigar? Like, we've been dancing all night. Like, yeah, you know what? It's a little brisk outside. Like, that'll be nice. And then 3 puffs in, you're like, and my mouth is going to taste like that for 3 weeks. Like, no matter how many times I brush, my mouth is going to feel like there's fuzzy slippers in it. And I'm going to cough and cock up a little for like 2 weeks. But I'm going to do it again. I know it. Next time it's offered to me, I'll say yes again.
I'm too susceptible to peer pressure. Turn those down.
You'll just get immediately as soon as you're offered one, you're smoking it. Coop.
I'm just like, I'm smelling too good right now. I need something to fix that. I need something to fix that.
Joe, what about you? Where do you stand on a cigar?
I have a nostalgic connection to cigars. My dad used to smoke a lot of cigars, so like, that aspect of it, there's positives to it. I don't smoke them though. Way too smelly. Not interested.
It's so smelly. It's so smelly. Guys, those are our superlatives. We will get the votes for that last one coming up after this, but we're going to talk some more about these Sunday games. And we're going to play a game called Master Debaters here at the end of the show. Right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Better Sports Network. Collectible moments.
Everybody up here at U.S. Cellular. Sox 5 runs, 6 hits. The 2-1 to Bartlett. Swing shot to short. Ramirez has it. Throws. Burley picks the perfect game. His second no-hitter. People going crazy here at U.S. Cellular. He's smabbed by his teammates. A perfecto.
Now there's a steal by Bird. Underneath the DJ, lays it in. Right out, 1 second left. What a play by Bird. Bird stole the impounding pass. Laid it up to DJ. DJ laid it up at him. And Boston has a 1-point lead with 1 second left.
Out of the I formation on first down. Peterson to carry, looking for running room on the right side, has it to the 25, across the 30, across the 35, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line. Adrian Peterson has just gone over 2,000 yards for the season, the 7th man in NFL history to cross the 2,000-yard mark.
Well, a thundering ovation for number 66, Mario Lemieux.
Just the emotion I'm sure Mario is feeling in this place. You don't appreciate something until it's gone, and it's so great to have Mario back.
Hugger turns around. Over to Lemieux. Mario Lemieux, his first goal in his comeback here tonight at the Mellon Arena. And the Penguins lead 3-0, and he is smiling like a butcher's dog. Mario Lemieux.
Oh, the band is out on the field. He's going to go into the end zone. The Bears have scored, but the bands are out on the field.
Pearson moves in front of the STP dive. Petty comes back to the inside. They almost touch as they move down low in the banking. They're going to be side by side as they exit the bank and head for the finish line.
Richard Petty goes back in front. They both spin. They're in the wall. Petty is sliding, slamming into the wall. He's coming down toward the finish line. Will he make it? Pearson is still running. The winner is car number 21. An amazing finish. Richard Petty's car demolished in the front end, as well as car number 21. An unbelievable finish, a terrible crash. David Pearson has won the Daytona 500. Leitner catches, comes down, dribbles, shoots, scores! Christian Leitner has hit the bucket at the buzzer!
Pitched by Downing, swinging. There's a drive into left center field. That ball is going to be out of here. It's gone. It's 7-15. There's a new home run champion of all time, and it's Henry Aaron.
The most valuable player is Magic Johnson. 42 points, 15 rebounds, and 7 assists. He starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the Los Angeles Lakers to a world championship 123-107 over Philadelphia.
Whether you collect sports memorabilia, fantasy championships, or winning bet slips, talk about it on Better Sports Network.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network. It's in the game.
Auto beans.
What's up with the beans?
Beans.
Beans, the musical fruit.
What a bean kick.
At Christmas, we were with a family friend, and they have a 10-year-old, and I got the joy of getting to teach a 10-year-old who did not know some of the bean songs. Like beans, the musical fruit, the more you eat, the more you toot, or beans, they're good for your heart. The more you eat, the more you fart. The joy that a 10-year-old has when they learn a song about beans and farts that they did not know before is really high. I forgot how much joy that could bring to a person.
Dude, I remember being in their shoes.
Singing those songs. You had some good songs growing up. We had some news breaking right now, or head coaching news that I wanted to hit on. Adam Schefter tweeted out that Brian Flores is scheduled to interview for the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job today. I feel like we talked quite a bit about Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator option for some of these teams, that maybe he moves back into a coordinator role, but maybe we've also talked about all of the extenuating circumstances around his time in Miami, right? There were other factors besides just him as the coach that could have led to him not doing well. And maybe this is time for another chance. You think he'd be a good option there in Arizona, John Luke?
I liked Brian Flores. I think whenever he left from Miami, I said that he probably is a better head coach than a lot of these other coaches who are keeping a job. And so I don't dislike the move. I am worried about Arizona just in general. It doesn't seem like they have the best decision making there in the front office and the ownership. So I'd be worried from that perspective. It doesn't feel like there's very strong leadership. Like he'd be going into a situation where there's going to be a strong support network. But from Brian Flores' perspective, just the talent, I like it. I think he's a good coach.
I mean, you've got a defensive-minded coach like Brian Flores coming into a team that's left the remnants of an air raid Cliff Kingsbury offense.
Right.
Like I'm just a little bit curious about the personnel to coach. I'm curious who we would bring in to run the ball offensively with the personnel that they have there. If they would look at this, bring them in, and it's a complete rebuild. Like it almost feels like you have to go that direction. What do you think here, Coop?
Now that's the way I feel about it, is that you've invested a lot in the offense, right? And even if DeAndre Hopkins leaves, it's like you used a high draft pick on Rondell Moore. You traded for Marquise Brown. Obviously, they have a ton invested in Kyler Murray, drafting him first overall and then paying him the huge contract. Like, you've invested so much in that side that I think you have to just ride it out with what you have there. Bring in an offensive coordinator that you think can work with those pieces, and then bring in a coach that's really going to focus on the defense, because that'll be the true test. If you can get the defense up to speed, now you find out if what you have on offense is the real deal, right? So I like them going defensive minded with the coach, because for too long we've kind of been able to blame it. It's such a cop out to be like, oh yeah, they have Kyler Murray, but their defense sucks, right? And it goes for a lot of teams where you can say, oh well, there's no blame on these guys now. Well, now you see with the Cowboys, they come out and they have a defense, a good defense, and now we're saying, okay, is this the guy? For the longest time with the Cowboys, you could say, oh well, the Cowboys always have a good offense, but they always have a bad defense. That's not the case anymore. It really helps you figure out where your team stands. If you have somebody come in, okay, now we have a good defense. Why aren't we winning?
We got to fix it. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'm curious to see if Flores gets the job there. I don't think that's the ideal situation for any of these coaching candidates. That's not their top choice, ending up there in Arizona. We'll keep you guys updated as we get more news on these head coach openings throughout the offseason. Got to talk about some of these games, guys, that happened on Sunday. The Bengals and Bills, and also the 49ers Cowboys. Before we get to that, though, I want to remind everyone that this week, Better Sports Network is sponsored by Lucra. You've seen Coop and I make a couple bets here on the air. If you want to make some bets with your friends, you can do that over on Lucra about the games you love, the sports you love, competitions you're having with your friends. You guys are playing some darts. You can throw that up there. You're watching the game together. You can throw something up on Lucra as well. Download it and use code BSN, and you'll get a free $10 to play with just by using that code BSN whenever you sign up. You can find that link right here below us on the screen or at bettersports.com. Get those Lucra bets in there. We've talked a bit about this game already, guys, the Bengals and Bills. But Bengal and a Bill, turns out all you need is a Bengal to come out on top in this one, 27-10. And this was the most surprising outcome of the playoffs for me so far. All the other outcomes, the blowouts, the close games, the teams that won, I was like, yeah, I could have seen that happening. Even if it wasn't exactly the way I predicted, it was all right. The Bills getting blown out at home was not on my bingo card for things that were going to happen in this playoffs.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I know a lot of people were viewing the Bills as just the best team in this in the league, that they were a shoo-in for the playoffs here, for the Super Bowl. Any team, right? This is the parity of the NFL. Any team can lose on a dime like this. And I think what this really showed me, more so than the Bills are, they have cracks, is that the Bengals are looking great. And they showed us that so many times this season, is that they're a few pieces away from being dominant. And that's terrifying as a Ravens fan.
Here's what I think. I think we're seeing Zach Taylor start to make a name for himself as not just a great coach, but a great playoff coach. When he gets into the playoffs, Zach Taylor knows how to game plan. He knows how to contain Josh Allen and the running backs there on that Bills team. Like, he comes up with the most beautiful game plans, and they go out there and just execute. I think that dude has some postseason magic, the head coach of the Bengals.
Right. And what makes it a little bit easier is when you draft Joe Mixon and he's good, and you draft Joe Burrow and he's good, and you draft T. Higgins and he's awesome, and you draft Jamar Chase and he's even better. That definitely helps a little bit, in my opinion. Just looking at it from the perspective of a Patriots fan, where we're like, we'll draft N'Keal Harry and we'll draft Tyquan Thornton in the second round. I mean, Tyquan Thornton is drafted in the same round as T. Higgins, believe it or not. You know what I mean? It's like something, when you hit on the picks, life is good, right? And the crazy thing is, they went out this offseason, got La'el Collins to help boost that offensive line. He's hurt. He didn't even play.
The line looked great.
The line looked good, man. Ted Karras, that was a good addition for them, but they've got some upside that is still untapped here. So Bengals could be it.
Well, and Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, we know the narrative there. Joe Burrow has won every matchup between those two quarterbacks, if I'm not mistaken, right? I don't think Patrick Mahomes has won a game against a Joe Burrow-led Bengals team.
Skadios. That should be a fun game. I wonder what is. Do we have an over/under for that yet? Has that opened up? I bet it's like 55.
I'm not sure, but we can find that. But Dale, I think
55.
I think the point you raised is everyone knew the Bengals were good, right? Like we went into this playoffs and like the Bengals are a good team. And they would talk about like if it's not going to be the Chiefs or the Bills, it'll probably be the Bengals. But I think they were viewed not in the same tier as the Bills and Chiefs as most likely to come out of the AFC. They were viewed in like a secondary tier. And I think that was a mistake. Like them coming out in this game was like, oh, they were the 12-4 Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jamar Chase. We should have been looking at these guys in the same lens as we were looking at the Chiefs and the Bills and the Eagles, these teams that we think have the top chance to win the Super Bowl this year. You got to respect those Bengals a little bit in the postseason. And I don't think they got the respect they deserved before this game.
No, that secondary looked fantastic this weekend. Yeah, I think if they get some offensive line, they get offensive line asset this year, they're going to be ridiculous.
It's crazy, man. The one thing is that they have everybody under contract for next year too. So like if they want to, they don't have to pay T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd. They already have them under contract. Jamar Chase is under contract for another 2 years plus the fifth year option. So he could be around for a long time. T. Higgins is probably going to get a huge deal in 2024, like easily 20 plus million. So I'm not sure if they'll be able to keep him, but they're making a run this year and they could easily make another run next year without even having to spend much more money. So pretty cool spot there.
Pretty cool spot you found yourself in there. Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor,
cool.
Joe Mixon.
Mm-hmm.
Dustin in here with the total here, 47.5 for the Bengals.
That's surprising. I thought it'd be higher.
What do you think the spread is?
1.
3.
You're very close, Coop. It's 1.5. The Chiefs are 1.5 point home favorites in Arrowhead.
That's interesting. That's wild. Joe Burrow. They got their number.
Gonna get it
Have
done.
their number.
What happened to this Bills team in this game? We're talking a lot about the Bengals, but Josh Allen did not look good. They could not get the rushing game going at all whatsoever. Stephon Diggs couldn't get going. Looked like they just never found their rhythm. They just fell flat in this game. Is there something bigger than just a bad game going on with this Bills team, or do you think it was just a bad game?
Yeah, seems pretty obvious to me. Coming down straight from the top, something big, much bigger than us all. And that's that
God
Bills
likes the Bengals better.
Bills zone, maybe not that high up, but next level down. Bills owner Terry Pagula, he rigged this game against his own team, the Bills, because he wants to build a new stadium and he wants to build a dome. And once he saw the forecast called for snow, he's like, we need to lose this game so that I can get the fans on my side when I build this dome stadium. So it seemed pretty clear to me that was what was going on. I'm not sure if you guys saw the same thing.
It's exactly what I saw. Yeah. I've been trained to spot conspiracies anytime that they occur. And this is absolutely one of them.
It didn't even, it was like that snow that they just like make at the ski resorts. Like it didn't even look real. It was clearly fake snow.
And I've been trained specifically to not catch on to any level of conspiracy, just to be completely blind to all undergoings. And I didn't notice a single thing. So that checks out.
You didn't see the like hundreds of guys at the top just shaking little fake snow bags.
I thought they were dancing.
He also owns the Sabres. So he's been collecting all the ice chips from the skates for weeks now to just have guys up top shaking bags.
What are you doing? Nothing.
It's actually not a Zamboni. It's a vacuum. And it's just skating around the ice and sucking up all the chips.
Have we finally broken you through to where you can see the conspiracy theories now?
No, I still won't see it. You can explain it to me all you want, but then put it in front of me, I'm going to be completely blind to it.
Yeah. But
also,
I mean, on a serious note, though, it's like you think about all the things that we talk about all year long. Oh man, it's really going to suck for teams to have to go up to Ralph or whatever they call it. I don't even know what the name. I still call it Ralph Wilson. I don't care what they call it now. It could be beef jerky.
I'm pretty sure his name is Russell Wilson, not Ralph Wilson, but I could be mistaken.
No, we're all calling him Ralph now.
Yeah, I'm calling him Ralph. So the Ralph up there.
All we decided, Simon.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
All year we say that, somebody's gonna have to go up there and play in the cold weather in the middle of the winter, and what happens if it snows? Then the Bills gotcha. Well, guess what? It was cold and it snowed, and the Bills didn't gotcha.
They didn't gotcha.
They didn't gotcha. There you go. Marky Mark Stadium, whatever they call it now. Yeah, it's fine. It's the Ralph. But so, I mean, I don't know. Why not just build a dome now? You know, this team clearly showed that weather wasn't on their side. So
just put a roof on it.
Put a roof on that.
Put a roof on them.
Justin in here said the Bills bought into the team of destiny hype and played out of position, believing they would make the big play instead of making the smart, easy play. Think there's some of that going on? Maybe a little bit of hero ball instead of just playing the smart, easy play?
You know, it's funny. A lot of times watching that game, when I thought that, it worked for them. Like I distinctly remember one play where it was like 3rd and 7, and Devin Singletary is standing right there, 6 yards downfield, no one around. And Josh Allen just turns and chucks it to Gabriel Davis, literal perfect ball with 2 defenders on him, and he catches it. And I'm in the middle of saying, "Oh, dump that down," and then I was like,
"Don't dump that down."
Oh, okay.
I forgot about Josh Allen.
I turned to my buddy and I was like, Singletary was wide open. You
missed it.
It was like the best throw of the game. I was like, well. Yeah,
should have hit it for 6 yards.
I was like, you know.
That would have been a beautiful check down if only he saw it.
The play went for like 30 more yards than the play I wanted, but still, it play. I mean, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So maybe there were more of those that I missed. But I don't know, man. Pretty rough.
This Bills team coming back next year? Are they going to be another one of the favorites heading into next season?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. And again, it sucks that they spent all that money on Von Miller and he wasn't available. That could have been a game changer. The Bengals did a great job of bringing the heat, but not letting Josh Allen escape. It was the game plan that they ran this week will be studied by many teams, because typically what happens when you bring the heat like that and you put the pressure on the mobile quarterback, the concern is that he escapes. And then now you have guys, your ends are firing up field, and he steps up and goes right up the middle. And that's why teams kind of play like spy. They kind of hang back. The Bengals were able to do both because they were all over him. They had the pressure and he wasn't getting away. So whatever they did this week, I'm sure Billy Belichick and Mike McDaniel and the gang are going to be taking a peek at that one.
They're figuring it out.
Yeah, whenever
Easy
they
Abe's
did.
in here said Josh Allen consistently does the wrong thing right. Just
That is true. That
makes
is
the
true.
wrong decision, but it just works.
Yeah.
When you got
Bumbling
talent
around.
like that, you can make it happen. Guys, I think we can move on to the next game, the game from last night, the Dallas Cowboys and San Francisco 49ers. The Niners coming out on top. Brock Purdy, Coop, time and time again, just coming out telling you, I'm not a rookie yet. You're not getting my rookie game yet. It's not happening yet.
Elite ability to throw passes that should be intercepted that aren't. Like probably the best in the league at that. Right.
No interceptions, no touchdowns either, but he does what he can.
Just throws a highly uncatchable ball. Like nobody on either team can catch it. Even George Kittle needs to like bat it to himself just to be able to corral it. Yes,
that was an amazing catch by George Kittle.
Yeah.
I was sitting on Simon's couch and I screamed. I was like, "Wow!"
You were there, Coop? You saw him?
I did.
You heard?
I did.
That's exactly what he did.
I'm now rooting for the 49ers just so that every week Coop has to come in here and come up with a new excuse to explain away Brock Purdy winning.
He keeps playing worse and worse, and they just keep winning, dude. It's like that Rick and Morty, Jerry and Rick and Morty, when he's like, I just kept crawling and it kept working.
But it does feel that way. Like this team is just bringing Brock Purdy along for the ride right now. But
they are. They 100% are.
Yeah, that's what it's
like.
like.
It doesn't feel like that. That's what's happening.
Right. It's like the thing is, had they lost this game, do you sit here and say, okay, the guy threw for 200 yards and no touchdowns and ran for 8 yards? Do you say like, okay, that's our guy next year? It's kind of hard to like. I wouldn't be surprised either way. If it went either way, if they said this is our guy, I wouldn't be surprised if in this offseason Shanahan was like, no, are you kidding? We're gonna use the guy we drafted 3rd overall. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't be surprised either way.
Yeah, I think they're going to stick with Trey Lance. I saw some people on Reddit, though, tilting a little bit on that after this win. I think it's more and more clear. I mean, this is a great offense. This is a great team. It would be truly shocking if they move away from Trey Lance, even if Brock Purdy wins the Super Bowl. Still, I'm still on that side.
Unless like Brock Purdy needs to win Super Bowl MVP in a convincing manner. And then I'll think about it. Otherwise, I'm with you, JL. Otherwise, it's Trey Lance. But Brock Purdy needs to be the reason they win a Super Bowl. Right. Where he leads a 5-touchdown performance to win the game, and it was all on his shoulders, game-winning drive. Then it's going to be hard with all the momentum behind him at that point. But even if they win and it was just a defensive performance and Brock Purdy throws for 240 yards and a touchdown, I don't think that does it. I think they go back to Trey Lance.
I think, honestly, I don't think it needs to be 5 touchdowns. I think for him, if they win and he throws for either 300 yards or 3 touchdowns, I think that's enough. You know what I mean? One or the other. I think if they win the game, he throws for 300 or 3 scores, then I think, to me, that's an MVP caliber game. A Super Bowl MVP caliber game, because they want to give it to the quarterback. They always do.
Does this 49ers team feel like, Joe, you brought it up earlier that when they make it, they just make it to the conference championship game. But even before you said that, it feels like that. It felt like we just knew they were going to at least make it to this point. The Niners, I know, Coop, you had the Cowboys moving on to the next round, but this team just feels almost like scratch to play in the conference championship. Even with Brock Purdy at quarterback, it was yeah, they'll make it. They got the defense. They'll make it through.
They have the best player in the league at 5 different positions. You know what I mean?
Brock Purdy at quarterback.
Obviously.
Elijah Mitchell at running back.
Mitchell, stud. Keep going.
Juwan Jennings.
See him back.
Jennings.
Elijah Mitchell was quite involved in that game. 14 carries, more carries than Christian McCaffrey. Do you think this is them just working both these backs in, or a hot hand approach by Shanahan? But Mitchell's hand wasn't that hot, 3.6 yards per carry.
I think it was kind of when you were watching the game, the way he got a good chunk of those yards was at the end of the game. He had that big play, right? Yeah. That basically won the game. Right, for all intents and purposes, that first down he should have stayed in bounds, which that was actually a bad ending to that play. But he broke the first down that caused the Cowboys to use all their timeouts. Which the last drive the Cowboys had, that drive looks totally different if they have timeouts. So,
100%.
Right, so then they went right back to him, gave him a couple more carries at that point. So I don't know. Elijah Mitchell was fine.
And Dustin coming in, it probably was likely due to the calf injury for CMC that we saw a little bit more work for Elijah Mitchell. But from what I'm hearing, CMC should be fine, right? Good to go.
Yeah, he's CMC.
Yeah.
He's making it. He's making it over there. Coop, this Cowboys team, one that you were excited about, said they were pretty complete. How do you view them going forward? We talked a little bit about the Jaguars going forward, the Bengals going forward. What's the deal with this Cowboys team? Because they got some players not under contract, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, when you look at these teams that are making it deep, they have multiple stars, right? And the Cowboys, they have basically CeeDee Lamb, I'd say, is a star. But Michael Gallup didn't show up at all. I think he's still not right from the injury. He's clearly not back. Noah Brown, Michael Gallup, Dalton Schultz is fine, 27 yards. But he's not a star. He's not George Kittle. We can look at this other team: George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, Kyle Juszczyk is the best fullback in the league. Nick Bosa, arguably one of the best pass rushers in the league. This team is just loaded with stars. Whereas, and same thing with the Eagles. Jalen Hurts is a star. AJ Brown's a star. Devonta Smith is awesome. This Cowboys team needs a second wide receiver, and there are a lot of teams that need a second wide receiver in a year when there's not a lot of them out there. All the Bills need another wide receiver. These teams are going to be fighting over what, right? I think there's going to be a huge trade market for a guy like DeAndre Hopkins, because just imagine DeAndre Hopkins on the Bills, or imagine him on the Cowboys. Now it's a totally different team. But clearly, they were forcing the ball to CeeDee Lamb, and CeeDee Lamb catching 10 of 13 targets, and another one on a very tough throw that hit his hands that he almost had. He's a good player. They got to give him some help.
God, some of the catches by CeeDee Lamb in that game, there are moments where Jill and I just looked at each other How the hell did he catch that? He is so good at football.
Insane.
Is that
Yeah,
Chris?
what was the
Is that Chris?
what was the
Angel?
one where he was like, it was, I think he was getting, it was pass interference. They called the pass interference and he still caught it. Wild.
CeeDee Lamb, like that's a player that he has no reason to hang his head after that game.
No.
Catching 10 or 13 balls, man. I mean, like there was that one third down ball that was very tough placement. There was a hand in there, but it hit his hands. Like that was the one that he probably wishes he had back. But I mean, dude, he put out a great effort there. But yeah, like Gallup, man, 0 catches on 3 targets. Noah Brown, 2 catches on 2 targets. T.Y. Hilton had 1 catch. It's like it's not like they have guys on IR either. They released James Washington. Simi Fehoko is not going to come in and be a megastar. So they got to do something there. And there's a lot of teams that got to do something at wide receiver. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get it done. DJ Chark.
Who are they going to sign? Yeah, DJ Chark.
Throw the bag at Chark or Alan Lazard. I don't think that fixes your problems. I think the draft this year, from what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing in these mock drafts, they don't actually project. People say it's a deep draft, but they don't project a lot of wide receivers to go early. I've seen a couple mocks that didn't have a single wide receiver in the first round. Right? There's a couple of them that had like some tight ends going high, but like the wide receivers like Addison, he might go in the first or Downs, but like Jackson Smith and Jigba maybe, but like there's nobody's really projecting a top 10 wide receiver in this draft or even like top 15. Like the drafts I've seen, people are kind of pushing wide receivers down. So we'll have to see if teams are willing to reach in a tough free agency year or if it's just going to be one of those barren off seasons where it's hard to make your team better. I mean, it's kind of weird that happens.
I love wide receiver switching teams. That's my favorite position to have chaos with in the offseason because there's so much uncertainty whenever they're on a new team. The options for how that could turn out are endless.
If you're blowing it up, it could be a really good market to trade guys, right? Like DeAndre Hopkins is one that he says that he wants to trade. He wants to be traded, but I mean, are there any guys out there on teams that should blow it up that we think? Texans.
I was going to say Brandon Cooks. Clearly,
Brandon Cooks is going to be. I mean, would you rather have Brandon Cooks or Alan Lazard?
Either.
Brandon Cooks, I guess, ever so slightly.
Rather, Brandon Cooks is 29 years old. So would you rather have Brandon Cooks or Marquez Valdez-Scantling?
Brandon Cooks.
Brandon Cooks.
Rather have Brandon Cooks
or
DJ Chark?
DJ Chark.
Cooks over Chark? Chark was good this year. Chark had better stats than Cook.
Cooks was also on the Texans.
I think it had opportunity a bit more for Chark than Cooks.
I don't know. I think DJ Chark's a better player than Brandon Cooks at this stage.
It's fine.
Brandon Cooks, he's going to be 30. Would you rather have, Julio Jones? Would you have Jacoby Myers or Brandon Cooks? They're very different players.
Yeah, that's tough. I guess I'll take Brandon Cooks, the upside that he presents in a game.
Yeah, I'll take Cooks.
It's rough,
now another team that maybe could blow it up. Whenever I'm looking at this, Coop, I was like, which team? I have no idea what the Saints are doing. Like just from a team construction standpoint, like where they are. Their head coach firing didn't work. Their cap is screwed. They have no quarterback. Like what are they doing? Michael Thomas, maybe if they're looking to move someone, he hasn't played there. He's clearly not happy on the Saints. That would be an exciting move this offseason. I'd love to see Michael Thomas on a new team.
That would be, if he can still play. That's the question. Because we really, for a while, I was saying, okay, we haven't seen him play bad. We've only seen him play hurt, but now we really haven't seen him play at all. Getting kind of spooky. What about DJ Moore?
Oh, that would make me so happy. That would make me so happy to see him somewhere else.
Raiders, be interesting.
The Raiders got to figure out that quarterback position. I'm very curious to see how that plays out. We're going to get some more good quarterback movement this offseason. It doesn't look like a good offseason for wide receiver movement, but maybe we get some big surprises. I wasn't expecting A.J. Brown to get traded to the Eagles during the draft last year, right? And then we got that. So you never know how these moves are going to come to fruition.
What if it turns out that Matt Stafford is he's saying that he's kind of done, or what if a player like Cooper Kupp were available via trade?
That'd be wild.
Cooper Kupp to the Bills.
No. Just give me Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp one more time, please. Just one more time. I want to be able to draft Matthew Stafford to Cooper Kupp combo one more time.
Cooper Kupp goes to the Raiders with Tom Brady.
Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, and Tom Brady on the same team. That would be.
They already have a Cooper Kupp.
Hunter Renfrow leads that team in receiving yards with Cooper Kupp and Devontae Adams on it, without a doubt.
That's how it would happen, right?
Right? Just out of nowhere, all of a sudden, no injuries, and it happened slowly. You didn't even realize it, and then all of a sudden, you look at the stat sheet, and you're like, "What the hell? When did Hunter Renfrow get 1,100 yards?"
Tom Brady to Hunter Renfrow with Josh McDaniels calling the plays.
He might have 1,500 yards.
15
million yards.
1,500 bazillion yards.
Tommy said, stick with Stidham, bring in a vet backup for the Raiders. I think I'd not stick with Stidham. No. I think as a Raiders fan, you should dream higher, Tommy.
David Carr.
At the antique store we were at, they had multiple David Carr bobbleheads. I almost bought one, but like they had two different David Carr Houston Texans bobbleheads.
Gotta snag one of those.
I should have bought it. I'm going back. I'm driving back today. It's only an hour out of the way.
What do you think, Jerry Jeudy? If you trade Jerry Jeudy, a team can pick up his 5th-year option and have him for 2 years.
That'd be hot.
Jerry.
I don't think they'll do it, but it's possible. Yeah. Terry McLaurin is another one I don't think will happen, but would be kind of interesting.
I mean, teams are going to be asking.
You're naming my dynasty team wide receivers now, so I'm happy. Terry McLaurin, DJ Moore. Those are the guys that I've just been waiting on, that the talent is there. JL, you know what? Terry McLaurin's now my new top answer because I truly do think he's got best in the NFL talent. Like, I think he has potentially top 5 NFL wide receiver talent. Like, I've never watched that guy play and not thought, oh my God, he's so good at everything he does. It's just been Taylor Heineke, Carson Wentz. Like, he's had butt water throwing him the ball. I would love to see him on another team.
Right. Yeah, it's great. The thing is, we say that these teams wouldn't want to trade these players, but sometimes when the asking price is super high, which I expect it to be. I mean, JL, think about the Ravens. They need pass catchers too. Like, there's a lot of teams competing right now. The Chiefs are going to if Juju's going to be a free agent, the Chiefs need pass catchers. Like, pretty much all these teams except the Dolphins and Bengals need some weapons. So the asking price might be too good to give up. You know what I mean? Like, if someone says we'll give you 2 first-round picks for a guy that, only has a year left on his contract, now I'm like, take him.
Now I'm interested.
Like, whatever. Like, especially if you look at it and you're like, okay, are we actually going to win the Super Bowl this year? Is Washington going to look at this offseason and say, yeah, we're going to win this year? Maybe you do trade Terry McLaurin.
Yeah. I don't think Washington's winning a Super Bowl next
year. That's what I'm saying.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say I don't think that's happening.
Can you imagine a situation where they're like, yeah, we would have won had we kept McLaurin? I guess the Ravens were kind of in that situation where you look at it, maybe if they kept Marquise Brown. No, it was really Lamar Jackson getting hurt.
That was really the big thing, yeah.
We
Victor in here saying trade Elijah Moore.
I can see that. He's clearly not happy.
Yeah.
I would see that for sure. We got Craig in here, said busy morning, but came by to say hi and hit that like button. Good morning, Craig. Thanks for stopping by.
Good morning, Craig. Good to see you. I hope your morning gets better.
Better? He just said busy. It could be
busy.
good. Oh, less busy.
Okay.
Maybe he's having a great. I hope your day is as beautiful as JL is.
Stop.
Guys, coming up, we are going to play a game called Master Debaters. But right now, you're watching the Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show here on Better Sports Network.
Join Corey Nando and friends, presented by Mayo Media, weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
You teased me about this before the show. Maybe you've gone nuts with ticket stubs over the last.
And like I said, I texted you last week, right? So I started out just going through and tripping off and looking for some Dallas Cowboys things. I was telling my son that there was a game that we allowed him to. We said, listen, you were just watching the wrestling thing is aggravating me. 5 years old. You're going to pick a team today and stick with it. Whoever wins the game is going to be your team. Washington won the game. And I started thinking about it. It'd be cool to have something from that game. There's a ticket stub for it, right? So when I found this, I started finding more ticket stubs, Nando, and I was like, this is pretty interesting stuff right here, right? So then the next one I kind of caught my eye was another Washington-Dallas game where
I hope these are like $11 ticket stubs here, man, because like there's no significance to these at all except for Corey Parsons.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's not much. So I ended up getting the last time they were called the Washington Redskins.
Yeah.
They played the Cowboys.
All right.
Scoop that up for like $4. You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
Now, here's something I got last night. $12, right? You may think this is cool. You might not. Kevin Durant's last game as a Texas Longhorn.
Oh, that's pretty cool, actually.
How about this? The Fab Five versus Duke in the national championship.
That's a good one. $30.
Coach K's second championship, $35.
All right, not bad. Tyler in the background's talking about the Redskins-Cowboys scab game. The Redskins won on Monday Night Football in '87. That's
an interesting one right there. That's a classic. How about this one?
Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3's got it. I bet you that's a $450 ticket at least.
I'm about to tell you about a wrestling one I saw on here. I bought this one just because of how cool it is right here. 1986 Monday Night Football, Washington and Dallas. Check out the ticket.
Tom Landry?
Tom Landry on the ticket.
Nice.
$2
That's a piece of art
right there. Yeah, it's a piece of art.
That's a piece
you know
of
what
art.
I'm saying?
What are you going to do with
Landry
these?
on the ticket. I have no clue yet. I got to figure it out. I'm going to have them. That's what I'm going to do with them. So listen to this one that I saw, right? I saw the ticket from remember when Stone Cold Steve Austin drove the beer truck down to the ring, pulled out the beer hose and sprayed the rock within
That's after my time.
I saw that one, Denver at the Pepsi Center. That ticket, Nando, was online. $850. If I had $850, I would have bought that one, Nando. You know what I'm saying? That one, because that was a legendary Stone Cold moment. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's things like that. I think the ticket thing, Nando, obviously you want to taste the big items, but I think it lies in what's important to you.
Join Corey, Nando, and friends presented by Mayo Media weekdays at 3 Eastern on Better Sports Network.
Oi, hey, oi. What's up, Coop?
What's up, dude?
I felt that oi in my soul.
Deep oi. There's a deep and nasty oi.
JL's busy.
JL's above?
He's pretty busy.
He's in your other office.
He's in my other office. He's pushing some works off a bridge.
The office. He's in the office where you take
so many works.
Where you take your morning meetings.
Yeah.
Let's just say the bridge was overrun.
It was a well-made bridge, a well-structured bridge. We got Scampers in here as well saying ditto. Busy morning, but coming in to say hi. What's up, Mr. Scampers?
What up, Scamps? Meow.
Scampy.
I just realized that I am not in the Eastern time zone.
You're not. You're on the
and
Central time
zone. We
zone.
don't have an hour and 15 minutes left of the show.
No, we are so almost at the end. Are you gonna cry?
Wow. I'm going to cry.
I always get sad. When you guys come back from break, I'm like, yay. I was actually sad just now. I didn't know if JL was coming back.
Honestly, it could have gone either way, 50-50.
I love the idea that Coop has no object permanence. Like, just like as a person, that's a quality that he has. Anything you can't see, it's gone. It's never coming back.
And just so the listeners, a little peek behind the curtain that once we do hit 10 o'clock Eastern time, 9 o'clock, wherever you guys are, I still stay here and I talk for another hour. It's not broadcast anywhere. No one's watching. Yeah, Keith sometimes watches, but usually after about 10 minutes he leaves. But I just get the rest of the takes I have out because I still have a lot of takes.
He just sits there and talks about tight ends for an hour.
Right. And I'm like talking to you guys. I'm like, what'd you guys think? I'm like,
he just looks at the chat that's now over and he's just answering the questions again. Oh, that's a good question, Tommy.
Right. I'm in here. I'm like using Mr. Scamper's ditto like 5 times during the show.
to different points that you're saying. Scamper's in here says ditto. Agreeing with you.
You start asking questions like, hey, chat, let me know what your favorite Pokemon is. Oh, Mr. Scamper's favorite Pokemon is Ditto.
Good point. You kind of get them all. You got to get them all with Ditto, Scamp.
Gotta catch. I have a Ditto plushie behind me. I've pulled that up before.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like a Ditto because it's a Poliwag with a Ditto face.
Got him.
He's transformed. Guys, it's time for a new segment. I think you're going to be ready for this one because if you guys are anything, so good at debating. In fact, I would even venture to call you a master debater. Each of you individually are a master debater. And together, this segment is called the Master Debaters, where our contestants will show off their master debating skills by master debating against each other. Head-to-head master debation in this one.
I think I can win at this one. Finally, a game I can win at.
You've been practicing? We did practice a lot this weekend.
I feel like I could master debate JL pretty good.
I bet you could.
I've been practicing.
I can tell.
I've been practicing on myself in the mirror. My master debation. And now I'm ready.
Guys, here's how that's going to work. For this round of master debaters, I'm going to give each of you a team that is remaining in the NFL playoffs. Your job is to debate why that team is the team that is going to win the Super Bowl. So you'll be assigned one of the 4 remaining teams. You give your debate on how they're going to be the team that is the last one standing, the last team left winning. I'm going to give you guys 60 seconds to start. So Coop, if you're up first, I'll give you 60 seconds to run through. Give me the reasoning. JL, you'll have 15 seconds to respond to Coop. And the Coop, you'll have 15 seconds to respond back to JL. We're going to go quick. I will cut you off. After that, it's going to flip. JL, you've got 60 seconds. Coop, 15 seconds to respond. JL, 15 seconds to respond back, to respond to his rebuttal. And then at the end of that, I will determine who is the winner, the ultimate master debater.
All righty.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to randomize this to see who gets what team. Coop, you ready to determine which team you got?
Yep. Definitely not tweeting or anything. So.
Coop, the team that you are going to be representing, let's hit that button, is the Cincinnati Bengals. You're going to have to lay out the argument for why the Cincinnati Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. And John Luke, you've got San Francisco 49ers as the team that you are going to tell me why they are going to win the Super Bowl. So JL is the Niners. Coop, you've got the Bengals. And Coop, you're going to go first. As soon as you start talking, I'm going to hit start on this timer. You've got 60 seconds to lay out your argument for why the Bengals are going to win the Super Bowl. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Just go, and I'll hit start. You got 60 seconds.
Let's go. So when I look at these playoffs, the remaining teams, I look at Brock Purdy, a rookie quarterback. I don't think he can get it done. And I look at Jalen Hurts. We talked about how over the last 30 years, there's essentially 2 true running quarterbacks versus mobile quarterbacks. Like John Elway, yeah, mobile, whatever. He ran for like 300 yards in his best season. That's not mobile in my opinion. You know what I mean? That's like 20 yards a game. That's not an actual running quarterback. I don't know if running quarterbacks can get it done, right? And speaking of quarterbacks that rely on their ability to move around in the pocket and their mobility, Patrick Mahomes just got his ankle completely rolled up on, right? Not to mention the Bengals have had this team's number. You said to yourself, Simon, that the Bengals have basically beaten the Chiefs in almost all their matchups moving forward. So I think whoever wins this game in the AFC is going to win the whole thing. And I got my money on Joey Ice Cold Burr. Get your refunds, Burrow.
Joe Burrow. With 3 seconds to spare, Coop. John Luke, you've got 15 seconds to respond to Coop here. You know what? That's pretty fast. I'll give you 20 seconds to respond to Coop in his rebuttal. Start whenever you would like, and I will start the timer.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Simon. Thank you, Simon. Coop makes some great points, but here's the thing. The Bengals tried to do it last year, and it didn't work. They're going to try and do it again this year. We'll see if it works, but can we really trust Joe Burrow and that offensive line in a Super Bowl? They may have beaten the Bills this week, but are they going to have enough to beat Kansas City next week? And then they have to make it again to the Super Bowl and win and beat the 49ers or the Eagles? I think they're the worst team in this left here in the playoffs. They're going to lose. They're going to lose to the Chiefs this week.
And time. There we go. Jail, that is the end of your time. Thank you. He does bring some interesting points to the floor about that offensive line. Coop, you've got 20 seconds to respond. These will be your closing arguments here, responding to Jail's rebuttal. The floor is yours.
Well, I mean, he says that they're the worst team left. Well, that's not what my buddies over in Las Vegas say. Las Vegas, they say that the San Francisco 49ers have the worst odds of winning the Super Bowl. And I agree. I think that the teams coming from that side are the worst teams. I mean, and when you talk about the odds, 260 for the Eagles, 270 for the Chiefs, 280 for the Bengals. It's anyone's game. It's anyone's game of those three teams. I think Brock Purdy's not going to get it done.
And
so
time.
Got that in.
Convincing argument from each of you on that one, but it is not over yet. John Luke, the floor is yours for a full minute. We've heard the argument for the Bengals now. Now I need to hear the argument for the San Francisco 49ers. How are they going to win this Super Bowl?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Simon. The 49ers are going to win the Super Bowl on the back of one Brock Purdy, Mr. Big Balls himself. That man is bouncing on some yoga balls. Oh, my goodness. Not to mention you got CMC, you got Debo, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got Shanahan at the helm. All the pieces are in place for them to win the Super Bowl, and not a single team in the playoffs is more hungry to win it than the 49ers. Brock Purdy has been fantastic throughout the entire time he's played this season. Despite Coop's disparaging, he has been so good, making crazy passes. He looks so comfortable in the pocket. I think this team has enough to win the Super Bowl, and I think it's going to be the best story out of all the teams. Everybody loves the underdog. You got to root for Brock Purdy in this Super Bowl race. I think they can do it.
And time. You timed that pretty well, Joe. You got a timer running over there?
I do.
An internal clock? Well, he lays out a pretty convincing argument centered around one Mr. Brock Purdy. Coop, you got 20 seconds. Lay it out for me. Break down his argument. Why is JL wrong about Mr. Big Balls himself?
Yeah, well, that's the thing is he did have big balls up until this week when he totally did nothing and pretty much showed everybody who he is going to be as the better teams come in and they get harder and harder matchups. Yeah, of course he's going to crush the Cardinals without Kyler Murray. Yeah, it'll be an easy cakewalk against the Seahawks, dude. Very cool, dude. And he needed the Seahawks to drop a bunch of interceptions. He needed the Cowboys to not capitalize on a bunch of bad passes. The narrative has already been laid out for us. This guy is throwing easily interceptable balls, and when you face Darius Slay and James Bradbury, those are not only getting picked off, but they're probably going back for 6 the other way. Christian McCaffrey's hurt. Debo Samuel's hurt. They're dead.
Bonk, bonk, bonk. I deserve 3 more minutes.
Well, JL, I'll give you 25 seconds, but you're gonna get that to respond to Coop's arguments right there. You know what? I'm a little bit convinced, but let's see if you can pull me back to the other side.
Brock Purdy did nothing. He just beat the Cowboys, who I believe you picked as your choice for Super Bowl champs. Well, knocked him out. Brock Purdy's done nothing but win since he's been here. So say what you want about him. Say he's the easiest picked off quarterback. I didn't see the Cowboys do it. I didn't see any other teams do it before that. So what are they waiting for if it's so easy?
I am not sure who's going to win this one. It was close. You guys both laid out pretty convincing arguments, but I think
it's Coop.
I got to give this one to Coop. The Bengals. Classic. I think the Bengals. Coop laid out a better argument for the Bengals than you laid out for the 49ers. Coop, you are the master debater today. JL, just practice your master debating before next time, and then maybe you can take Coop down.
I pulled a classic Donald Trump move where you're allowed to say whatever you want during debates. And if you notice, I quietly in there said that Debo Samuel was hurt, even though he's not. Like Christian McCaffrey's hurt, Debo Samuel's hurt. Like, I'm just throwing stuff out there.
That's going to be it for us this morning, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. We will be back tomorrow morning from 7 to 10 a.m. Eastern time for some more Front Yard Fantasy Morning Show every day, Monday through Friday. But stick around here on BSN. Moose and Keith are up next, followed by Lunch Money presented by Fantasy Guru, and then Corey, Nando, and friends for all of your baseball conspiracy theories right after that. Until tomorrow, though, we are out of here. Adios, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your beautiful Monday morning.
Bye-bye.